I can't even. I mean,
On your home of the Gamecocks.
I don't know. I'm just I go everything's going wrong, and I don't know what to do. I don't know, but I might go back to bed.
1075.
I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
The Game.
Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, up and running as we are getting your day off, hopefully on the good foot. 1 day closer to what hopefully most of you will be getting is a 3-day weekend. Maybe some of you are like me and you're turning it into an extended weekend. Tomorrow will be my last show of the week, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Oh boy, 5 days. Closest thing I've had to an actual vacation in quite some time, but I'll get you through the next 6 hours, and then I'll leave it in the good hands of Patrick and Jen. So if you want to join us this morning, 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning. If you want to hit us on the text line or the Love Chevy phone lines, a couple different topics we will get into this morning. A little bit of NBA, a little bit of NFL, Kyrie Irving and Deshaun Watson discussion this morning. So some NBA and NFL. The Wimbledon is kicking off here in front of me, or I don't know, is it kicking off, Patrick, or is it what would you say? What is it tennis does? What do they do when they start?
Serve?
They're serving it off. Is that better?
Or is it underway, or are they still doing their like volley back and forth?
Yeah, they're getting loose here. They're getting loose. We're still a little ways from,
I do like that about tennis, that they warm each other up.
yeah. We're still a little ways away here, about 2.5 hours from what I can tell from center court matches over there at in England. So keep you updated on that. But we'll get into that. South Carolina picks up a big commitment in football yesterday. Their biggest commitment to date, linebacker Grayson Pup Howard out of Andrew Jackson High School in Jacksonville, Florida, chooses the Gamecocks over Florida and Georgia, amongst others. So we'll talk a little football recruiting this morning. And the number 15 player on our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks in the SEC era is a guy that I think will bring back many memories and be someone that we can get into a little bit deeper this morning, as we'll get you that here in about an hour. But Patrick, one of the bigger pieces of news yesterday involved Deshaun Watson and what the NFL wants to try and do as it pertains to his particular suspension. And what do you make right now of the lawsuit against the Texans, everything that is going on with Deshaun Watson, and the fact that it looks like at least that the NFL wants an indefinite suspension that's at least at minimum no shorter than 1 year?
Yeah, I mean that would be unheard of, really, for the NFL. I don't know when the last time we saw something like that is, but this is a really unique case, and man, everything just makes it as bad as the Texans look right now. And I don't know what would happen to them. I mean, I don't know if it's you take a draft pick. That's always a weird thing, punishing a team. Unless you're going to get rid of the owner, oust the owner, which they're not going to do. They wouldn't do it in Washington. They won't do it in Houston. It always feels weird to take a draft pick or something along those lines for a group of people that had nothing to do with that situation. So punishing Nick Caserio and Lovie Smith and these guys for that would be weird, but I feel like that they have to do something to the Texans because they enabled was the word that I saw used a bunch of times, that behavior. And it makes the Browns look so bad. Like, how'd you guys not do your due diligence? How did you just go ahead and give this guy all this money up front, guaranteed, so that even when he gets suspended, he'll still make his money? How's it going to look when he gets suspended for a year, which is unheard of in the NFL, and then comes back and you just welcome him back with open arms. And what are you going to do this year with Baker Mayfield? You just let him play, and then when Deshaun comes back, you'll kick Baker to the curb and say thanks for holding down the fort while we let this guy serve his 1-year-long suspension, but now he's back, so see you later. It's just an ugly situation that no one should have taken action on yet, and now that they have, everyone's in kind of a weird spot.
It's interesting from a football standpoint. You get what the Browns did. They made their big move. They were going for their franchise quarterback. And so now if you look at it from, let's go to the Browns and that organization, Patrick, trying to become relevant, trying to become a player there. What does this do for them? Do they simply go back to Baker Mayfield at this point? Because the suspension now seems definite. That there's definitely going to be something, and it feels like that there's going to be a year. So now you look at it from the football perspective of things, and a franchise who took a massive risk here. What do you make, or is for Cleveland, is this just a speed bump on the road to having your franchise quarterback? Maybe they say, okay, well, fine, we don't get him this year. Maybe he's suspended for 6-8 games next year or whatever it may be. But we know still in the long term, our plan is still going to work.
I don't think you can ever do that in the NFL. I mean, they're a good team right now, but who knows how good they would be next year. It only gets more expensive and more difficult to keep cores like that around. Nick Chubb, we've seen what happens to running backs. Nick Chubb could hit a wall next year. He get hurt. Same thing could happen with Myles Garrett. You need to keep these windows open, and the Browns right now, they have a window. They have their core together. Jadeveon Clowney's there. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney's getting worse every single year. You can't count on him doing much for you next year. But it's dangerous. And if Baker could easily just say, I'm not going to play. I don't know what he would do, just sit out. But if he really makes it uncomfortable, I don't know what they'll do. They could just cut him or force the Panthers to trade him, and the Browns take a bunch of the money, and the Panthers get a free quarterback essentially. But that's the problem, though. They're just ready. They're ready right now. If they should be maybe the favorites in that division. We don't know what Deshaun would have looked like, and we don't really know what Lamar Jackson would have looked like either. The Bengals are, I don't know if there will be a Super Bowl hangover for that team or not, but they overachieved last year for sure. I would say that the Browns have probably the best roster in that division. If not, it's very close. They were ready to go this year, and they can. That's the other thing, though. They can be a playoff team with Baker Mayfield. I would not put it past them if Baker starts all 17 games this year to be a playoff team, but they've kind of already burnt that bridge, so I don't know what they do.
So we'll continue. We'll get into that a little bit more this morning. Again, from a football perspective, and I'll ask you one more question here, Patrick, because as RL hits us up on our live stream where you can go and join us, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, and you can join in there. RL says Deshaun missed 2 years at this point. Well, it will be 2 years, most likely. You'll have last year in which he didn't play, and now you're going to have this year. And Patrick, Deshaun Watson, as it stands now, again, I'm just focused purely on the football standpoint. I'm not there is the whole other legal side, which right now is very ugly, very nasty, just absolutely abhorrent. But with that being said, you look at this, you look at the football side of things, and Deshaun Watson was really in his prime. 3 straight Pro Bowls, 2018 to 2020. He did not play last year. Don't think he'll play this year. Would actually be stunned if he was to step foot on the field and throw a pass this year. And, you know, from a Deshaun Watson standpoint, this is going to be something that tarnishes his legacy regardless of the outcome. But now you're talking about him missing 2 prime years, at least at a minimum, 2 prime years of his career. What do you think that does when he actually comes back, sitting out, having sat out what will likely be 2 years?
Maybe it would be different for each person. I don't know what the longest we've really seen someone be away from the game, but
Michael Vick is the first one that comes to mind. And I've got to look at the
yeah.
exact number of years very quickly here that he was in
He
prison.
didn't. I think he might have only missed 1 season. Might have to go back and look. Yeah, you'll go back and look. But he's gonna have a quarterback coach. He'll be working out. I mean, he's not going to prison. I think that ship has sailed, so he'll at least be able to work out and things like that. From what it seems, watching the videos, I guess the Browns just welcomed him and it was all good. No one was like uncomfortable with him being in the building or anything like that. So I guess from that standpoint, it's not going to be a big deal. All they care about is football and they don't worry about anything else. I guess. Not seeing NFL defenses and things like that all the time just feels like it would be the biggest hurdle for me. Like, you can throw the ball, you can practice with your receivers, and your arm can be feeling good, but the speed of that game is just crazy. And the live reps, I think, would be just really valuable. Not getting hit for 2 years, your body probably gets so used to not getting hit for 2 years, and then the first time TJ Watt comes around the end and blindsides you, it feels a lot different. It's really impossible to say because I can't recall a situation like this, but it's hard for me to believe that he'd be bad when he comes back. I think he'd still be good. Maybe he wouldn't be top 5 in the NFL, but I think he'd still be a relatively elite quarterback. He would be 27, so still in his prime, and I don't think you just lose that after playing football for 20 whatever years.
Mike Vick, by the way, missing 2007 and 2008. And when he came back in 2009, only attempted 13 passes with the Philadelphia Eagles. It was the following year that he became a full-time starter again in Philadelphia, playing in 12 games that year, 13 games in 2011, and just 10 in 2012. So something there that's maybe a little bit similar in terms of time frame. So we'll talk a little bit more about that this morning. We got to get into South Carolina picking up a solid linebacking commitment yesterday. Grayson Howard, again, out of Andrew Jackson High School in Jacksonville. One of the top players in the class, 4-star linebacker with a rating over 90, helped South Carolina's rating across the board as it pertains to recruiting. So we'll talk a little bit about that and get you some information on Grayson Pup Howard. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Perrett. It's Jen Jensen. It is a Tuesday morning edition of the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Tuesday edition of the Extra Point, we will react to Ray Tanner's State of the Athletic Department address. We heard yesterday on the halftime show. We'll continue to talk South Carolina recruiting. We'll find out what Christian McCaffrey learned from Marshall Faulk and how he plans to try to get healthy to help the Carolina Panthers overachieve relative to pretty low expectation this year for the Panthers. All that and more coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Looks like it's going to be an ugly week coming up. I look at the forecast and all I see is rain. That can create a lot of problems for your home and particularly your crawl space. And if that's the case, you need to call Canty Foundation Specialist, 803-424-8380. In times like these, when there's storms, you could build up standing water underneath your home if you've got an open crawl space, and that can build high humidity and condensation in the crawl space and create an environment for mold and mildew and pests like termites, all sorts of nasty things that you just do not want. It can lead to wood rot and floor joist problems, can create musty smells, awful odors from the mold and mildew that builds up in there, and those can cause health issues like a runny nose, itchy eyes, and coughs. 50% of the air you breathe comes from your crawl space, so you need to make sure it's taken care of, especially in times like these, and you need to call Canty Foundation Specialist, 803-424-8380. You can find them in Columbia, Greenville, Augusta, Charlotte, and Charleston, and they're also foundation repair experts. So if you see cracks in your home, in your exterior brick, over your garage door, in your walls, or above your windows and door frames, these can all be signs of foundation problems. So can doors or windows that stick or uneven or bouncy floors. If that's the case, again, 803-424-8380 is the number you want to call. They can also do basement waterproofing, could be important at a time like this. They can do concrete leveling, concrete repair, and commercial services. So anything you need, they can take care of for you. 803-424-8380 is the number for Canty Foundation Specialists, or you can visit them online. The website is cantycanfixit.com.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Just one accident to let you know about.
Joe, did you see the Le'Veon AP boxing match?
The what?
Le'Veon Bell and AP are doing a boxing match.
No, I did not see that. I did not get a chance to see that. Not sure I would want to see that, but
I just saw less.
Finding great candidates can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It's powerful technology.
alrighty.
People with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of
I have
find you what you're looking for.
yeah. Le'Veon Bell, Adrian Peterson, he's at least still in the league though, isn't he? Patch. I mean, I guess Bell is too. Peterson's
No, I
finally
don't
out of the
think he-
league.
I think so, yeah. I don't think anyone wants him. I think Adrian Peterson wants to play.
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Didn't he get a year? Am I wrong? Did he get a year suspension?
No, I don't think so. I think he's got a couple games.
You can save. And Allstate better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit Allstate.com.
Or Patrick Deshaun wouldn't be able to participate in preseason, right?
I don't think so, but there used to be gray area about that.
Help you stay healthier, reduce costly hospital visits, and keep return-fitting HIV tests. DHEC is offering free HIV testing on June 28th. Call 1-855-4-SCDX to make an appointment. HIV testing is self-care. Taking the test is taking care of you. Oh, I'm going to
Check out.
If you're using this number on borrowed time, replace it now with AAA best deal of the year.
AAA Heating and Air will give you an instant rebate of $1,500 plus 0% financing, no money down, and a 15-year parts and labor warranty.
This offer is for limited time. 15 years of worry-free operation. $1,500 savings with 0% financing with no money down for qualified buyers. Call AAA today at 677-50.
That's a $1,500 rebate, 0% financing, no money down. Call AAA today at 677-1500.
Like the weather, this offer won't last. Call today and we'll install your new unit tomorrow. Call 677-1500. That's 677-1500. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. With Bill Gunter, Patrick Barrett, and Jim Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks. The Early Game, 1075.
Gotta make sure I don't start rapping along with this, pretending like it's karaoke Tuesday morning here in studio. There's a part of me that, when I turned the mic on, just wanted to start the opening sequence of that. Not even bother talking sports. Jen, you could karaoke this, right? With so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being Snoop D-O-double-G.
Yeah, I don't know that I could.
Come on, Jen. Got to get you better. Going into football season, this is going to be your prime here. This is your preseason where you've got to be ready to go for football season. And part of that means knowing all of Snoop Dogg's lyrics.
I'll see what I can come up with.
Some of, yeah, I know. As I was saying it, as I was repeating it right there, even in my head, I'm trying to stay 3 to 4 words ahead to make sure that Jen's not racing for the dump. That's why actually I stopped when I stopped. So
with Snoop, you actually have to omit more than most.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on sports or your favorite Snoop lines.
At
Greg.
least he doesn't go too fast. Like if you try to keep up with Kendrick Lamar, some
That's
of
true.
these new guys that just go 100 miles an hour, or Eminem,
Yeah,
it's not even worth trying.
If we'd have done that on air, there's no way I could have stayed 3 to 4 words ahead mentally trying to think about what may be coming up, so I can edit myself. Snoop Dogg to Pup Howard, Grayson Howard. Again, 6'3", 225-pound linebacker.
Really good transition.
You like how I did that? It's very for 6:23 in the morning with only a couple sips of coffee. I thought that
no one was going to give you credit for that. So.
No, that was pure luck.
Yeah, there you go. So, South Carolina picks up. This is their highest rated commitment in the class. He is a top 250 prospect, the number 17 linebacker in the country. Patrick, this is one where South Carolina does go in and beat out some legitimate schools on this. Jacksonville is a prominent area for the Florida Gators. And I think just as importantly, Mike Peterson was listed as one of the major recruiters for the Florida Gators. Obviously, Peterson, coming from South Carolina, had teamed with Clayton White to try and recruit and build a relationship with Grayson Howard. But South Carolina lands this guy yesterday. And Jacksonville's been a good home for South Carolina over the years when they've been able to go in and get guys. And Grayson Howard is a guy that, again, you can start to kind of build a class around and feel a little bit better about the momentum of your recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, 6'3", 223, like really good size, really good athlete. Mike Peterson began this recruitment at South Carolina, right? And then just kind of
It's really been all. I mean, Mike Peterson helped because he's from there, but this has really been Clayton White, who, we talk about Marcus Satterfield, we talk about Justin Stepp, we talk about Torian Gray. Clayton White is really a very underrated part for a defensive coordinator. For a coordinator, is a very underrated part of this staff, because I feel like we talk about so many other guys, but this really was Clayton White. He got a small assist from Peterson early on, but it was really a Clayton White deal.
I wonder if this starts to be something that turns the tide for Shane Beamer, at least in the eyes of South Carolina fans, because I know there's been some kind of disappointment. I mean, you're happy to see commitments, but you haven't gotten that big time guy yet, and all the talk has been about the culture and how just the vibes around the program right now. And I think Grayson Howard, it's great to have him on board, but also the quotes that he put out was basically just saying, I love Shane Beamer. I love the staff. I love the feeling I get when I'm there. And that's kind of what all the South Carolina fans wanted and said, this is what Shane Beamer is going to bring. He's going to bring that atmosphere that just sucks people in, and they just want to be a part of it. And some good quotes from Grayson Pup Howard saying, Coach White, his stat sheet speaks for itself. Coach Beamer's too. They took him from a 2-win team to a 7-win team. And this is the momentum that you kind of need. You got Dylan Lonergan commitment around the corner, and you start rattling off a couple of these, and all of a sudden you can put together a really good class pretty quickly.
Lonergan actually pushing his commitment back, was scheduled for Monday the 5th. It will now be on Monday the 12th. So only moving it back a week, and citing that with it being the July 4th weekend, a lot of his classmates were going to be out of town. His coaches were on vacation a little bit and wanted them to be there with him when he announced his commitment. So that was the reasoning behind moving his back 7 days from July 5th to July 12th. But back to what this commitment does. Another thing, Patrick, and I know that in recruiting now you have to wait a full year, but it really continues to show the rebuilding of the linebacking room. Now you've got Grayson Howard. You'll team him with 4-star linebacker Stone Blanton, 6'2", 220, who was a massive pickup late in the recruiting process last year, and 4-star linebacker Donovan Westmoreland, 6 foot, about 220 as well. So South Carolina has been able to go in, Clayton White and South Carolina have been able to go in and really, in the last the last 2 classes, this will be 3 4-star linebackers that you can kind of team together and let them work, let them compete against each other, and continue to build that linebacking core that South Carolina, it felt like it kind of slipped a little bit. You'd had Brunson. Obviously, T.J. Brunson had been very good. Ernest Jones was a guy that followed in behind him and had been really good. But last year, you were trying to replace it with Sherrod Green, who got injured, Brad Johnson, who was making the transition. Mo Kaba is a guy who is a 4-star player who you're still waiting to really step up and take that role. But 3 4-star linebackers right now in the last 2 classes makes you feel a little bit better about that position.
Yeah, I don't know stylistically who's going to fit the mold of that. Brunson and Ernest Jones were both inside guys, and Brunson moved out to the outside, but they were both guys that clearly knew the game and would make calls and be the leaders. So that's the hard thing in projecting linebackers too. It's the case for the NFL too. Just because you see a guy who's 6'3", 6'5", 240 and can run 4.4s doesn't mean they know where to be at any given time. And you see great athletes overrunning plays and getting just caught in the trash and when guards are pulling and things like that, and just not being able to work their way through, or just getting lost in the pass game, getting exposed on RPOs. There's all sorts of things that a linebacker has to do now. So I do kind of slow the roll a little bit when you're talking about linebackers, because just the adjustment is so much. And with these great offensive minds and quarterbacks, they just find ways to expose linebackers at all times. If you've got a corner that's just locked down in coverage, you can only do so much to not to work around that. Like basically, if a corner's locking down your best wide receiver, you just don't throw him the ball. But these linebackers that play in space, you find little soft spots and just expose them all day long. So yeah, I'm still going to be nervous about that. Adjusting to the game as a freshman is really hard for linebackers, but the fact that you've got highly touted guys and you've got multiple of them gives you extra shots. It gives you extra throws of darts, and you feel a little bit better going forward, because I do agree. I think the linebacker position this year too is still one of the ones there's a lot of confusion or uncertainty about.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. If you want to weigh in this morning, Deshaun Watson or on Pup Howard, Grayson Pup Howard, the newest commitment for the University of South Carolina. We'll continue talking about that. Got some more stuff we'll get into this morning as well. 2 different articles or opinion pieces out that I want to get into with Patrick. One of them from Jesse Simonton, who joined us last week from Own 3 Sports. He highlights his top 10 SEC non-conference games. We'll get into that. And also Brad Crawford yesterday of 24/7 Sports, who's joined us regularly on this program, put out his game-by-game prediction for South Carolina. So we'll be getting into that a little bit as well. So plenty to get into this morning. If you want to join us, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. Again, you can go to the live stream. Go to youtube.com or our Facebook page. If you go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game. Click, subscribe, join, hop in. Robin saying it's core day. Craig just rapping along with the Snoop Dogg. Roger saying good morning. So a lot going on. If you want to join us again, 803-404-6100. It's the early game on 1075 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 20, linebacker, Jasper Brinkley.
This one up for grabs, jump ball, and knocked away. It's picked off by Brinkley.
Number 19, quarterback, Steve Taneyhill.
Here comes the blitz. Taneyhill. He'll run. Touchdown. Oh, watch him celebrate now.
Number 18, wide receiver and kick returner, Ace Sanders.
Hey, Sanders, are you kidding me? Touchdown, Carolina.
Number 17,
AJ Cann, offensive guard, University of South Carolina.
A lot of guys look at me and see that AJ is going to work hard. He's going to give it everything he's got.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
4th of July weekend, it is right there in front of us, and that means getting out and maybe swinging the wiffle bat out in the yard, a little wiffle ball. Maybe you're going to grill out, maybe do some water skiing. I can tell you, it doesn't matter what you're doing, from wiffle ball to grilling to water skiing. If you suffer from joint pain, if you've got arthritis, if you've got some type of injury, it'll really slow you down. It'll take all the fun out of your 4th of July weekend, but there's a better way. There are options for you out there, and it starts with QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Advanced, exciting, and natural alternatives that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Call QC Kinetics today for a free in-office consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. It's 2022. We're almost halfway through 2022. Those old ways of getting yourself healthy, they're out. You don't need steroid shots. You don't need surgery. You need to get back on your feet today with no downtime. And that is exactly what QC Kinetics can do for you. They can help restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics in your body. So call QC Kinetics today to find out more about this incredible way of healing yourself. 803-281-6860. Again, call today for that free consultation. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Well, things have taken a turn, and not for the better early this morning. I-20 eastbound between exit 91 and 97, that currently is closed due to an accident. So if you're making your way into town, plan an alternate route. Again, that's I-26 eastbound between Columbia Avenue and exit 97. So between exits 91 and 97 on I-26 eastbound. Also have a report of an injury accident, Andrew Corley Road at North Lake Drive, and an accident, Screaming Eagle Road at McCord's Ferry. Scattered storms around today, 83 for the high. Right now, it's cloudy, a little bit breezy, 76 at 107.5 The Game.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock Football.
67 days till kickoff.
Your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Get the vehicle you
feel like we're starting. I can see a little bit of interaction. Still plenty of y'all on the live stream, but people starting to head off to vacation, getting the 4th of July vacation week or whatever going. I hate to say it, Patrick. I don't know if I'm watching live tennis. I guess it says live, but I can't tell if I'm watching live tennis aside from the little live thing in the
Johnson and Dimitrov.
Yeah, is it live?
Yeah, it's
oh,
live.
Good. Who's Johnson?
So the guy in the headband, I thought was Johnson. I thought was the American because I saw American versus Italian. That's Italian, right?
Yeah. No. Bulgaria? C-B-U-L?
Oh, Bulgaria. Oh, there it is. Yeah. The guy in the hat was being very demonstrative when he was doing the Italian shaking your hand thing every time he'd lose a point. So I was like, okay, I think that guy's the European. And in reality now, the American is the guy in the hat, and I don't like him very much.
He does seem very demonstrative, doesn't he? Yeah, he has a bad spot here. Facial expression. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm not pulling. I normally just pull for the American, but that's not going to be the case today.
Wake up early with Wimbledon.
He's actually annoying me. Steve Johnson, not a fan.
Well, he's not seeded, so we'll see what he does.
He reached a career high ranking of 21. I Googled him.
Well, there you go, Robin. See, you are getting a vacation. That's good enough. You are right. The hospital never closes.
And we are very grateful for that.
That is true.
Personnel, hopefully they get a chance to rotate where if they aren't off this year, they can be off next year and things like that. But
we've run out of bubble wrap for Jen to try and keep her healthy. We need the hospitals to stay open.
Well, we need all hands on deck.
Plan my orthopedic stuff.
4th of July is one of those holidays. We need all hands on deck. People.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen this morning. A lot going on. It's kind of an interesting week, Patrick. You start to get into a little bit of free agency in terms of the NBA, NHL now done, obviously. NFL heading toward the start of camp and a little bit of free agency news yesterday as it pertained to Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets. And it got me thinking because maybe because he hasn't played a lot, but in my opinion, if we did a list of most annoying players in sports, I know a lot of people might be saying LeBron James, but I would go Kyrie Irving as the most annoying player. I'm not that hated, disliked, those kind of terms. I'm not really going with that, but the most annoying player in sports that you see when you see his name pop up on television. And Kyrie Irving has been annoying for a bunch of different reasons, but he opts in yesterday to his $36.5 million option with the Brooklyn Nets. And then this is exactly why Kyrie Irving is annoying. He tells The Athletic, normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in. See you in the fall. That doesn't even, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, but I don't know how he's leading us into tomorrow by taking $36.5 million to stay with the Brooklyn Nets. That to me is why Kyrie Irving is the most annoying athlete right now in the world.
Second most annoying behind Steve Johnson.
Okay, yeah, you're annoyed right now. Patrick's watching Wimbledon, and Steve Johnson, the American, is winning, but he reacts to every point, and that's upset Patrick for the moment.
Being a huge baby. No, we do need to figure out how to get Kyrie a ribbon or a trophy for daring to take $36.5 million to stay in Brooklyn. The team that he chose to go to, that he left Boston for, that he basically whined and flat earth and complained his way to over the last however many years. The way I read that, not read his comment, but read the situation, was essentially no one wanted him. Yeah, like no one wanted him. The Lakers wanted him, but the Lakers don't have any money. LeBron's made that team broke. He didn't have any choice. If you want to make money, what else was he going to do? I don't think there was an option out there for him to. And if he declined his option for 36.5, because he's in the same situation as Bradley Beal, where essentially you can opt out of your $36 million deal, take a 5-year $250 million supermax, and that's what Bradley Beal is going to do. And Kyrie Irving is not going to have that option, because I don't think if he opted out, Brooklyn would have offered him a 5-year supermax. Because how could you offer that man 5 years of anything? Like, you just can't trust him to be on the court. You can't trust him to be in the locker room, in the building, in the state. You just never know where the man's going to be. And if he is there physically, you don't know where he's going to be at mentally. And it's just, he is a ticking time bomb. And I don't think anyone wants him. So it makes sense for him and the Nets to just run it back one more year. Kevin Durant looks like he's going to stay because Kyrie's his guy and they want to play together. But it's just, that place is a nightmare waiting to happen. And Kyrie, yeah, I'm pretty much with you. One of the most annoying athletes, but the other part of that is he is a legitimate, when he's playing, superstar and one of the most fun players to watch because of his just ridiculous handle, his ability to finish in traffic, like all the ways he can contort his body and make shots. And if you just watch highlights of that NBA Finals with the Cavs, you see prime Kyrie, and it's special.
That you're exactly right about that. He had, I don't know if people, maybe I don't think a lot of people pay a great deal of attention to the NBA, especially in March and April. You're focused on maybe college baseball, but he did have 60 points in one game this past season. There were 4 times in the months of March and April when he scored at least 40 points. He is a very good ball player, which makes it even more annoying that he says and does some of the things that he does. This past season, he played in only 29 regular season games, but he did average 27 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. So, Patrick, that's kind of the part of Kyrie Irving, is that, yes, he is ultra annoying. And as RL puts it on our live stream, he says he and Ben Simmons seem like bad employees, but you put up with him. You kind of put up with Kyrie Irving because of what he can give you. But it seemed like over the last few weeks, a lot of teams did not want to put up with the headache that is Kyrie Irving, even for the amount of talent that he brings.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's unfortunate for him and his legacy, is that this is what people are going to remember him as now. But it really, I don't think it can be overstated how good he is, because people that don't watch the NBA, they're just like, oh, Kyrie, good player, but just not worth the headache. Realistically speaking, if you just said everyone has the demeanor of Steph Curry, I don't know how many point guards you would take over Kyrie Irving. You'd take Steph, Luka, Damian Lillard, I guess, and then probably Kyrie. Like, he is a top 5 point guard skill-wise in the game, and he can do things that no one else can do. And it's got to be so frustrating to be a fan of a team that he's on and just say, dude, we have all of the pieces. We have you and Kevin Durant. We have two of what could be top 10 players in the world. Kevin can score 35 points a night like it's nothing. You can go off for 40, 60 at a time, things that not many people can do. We can be a championship team. Why are you doing the things you're doing? Why are you saying the things you're saying? What's going on, dude? Like, I just could not handle that. It would drive me insane.
803-404-6100. How you can join us. Yesterday, Ray Tanner joined Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, and Tommy Moody on the halftime show. We'll let you listen to a little bit of audio there. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Tuesday halftime show. Player number 15 on our Gamecock football countdown. We're halfway there, Terry Ford. Where's the summer going?
So you're sure the 15's half of 30?
Gunner said it was halfway, so.
But are we going to believe Gunner?
Well, when it comes to math, he's probably better than me. I'm not sure about that, but I'll go that 15 is half of 30. We'll get into a few other thoughts around Gamecock football recruiting, and the Deshaun Watson hearings will begin. What kind of trouble is he really facing? All of that and more on the Tuesday halftime show. See you at noon.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy. Noon to 3 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Again, big weekend. Huge weekend. You're going to have a lot going on. You're going to have parties. You got parties to go to. You got all kinds of stuff, and you need a clean home. And you can do that with Zero Res. Call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020. That's how you can get in touch with them. Or you can schedule with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com, and get that cleaning booked for this week. And if you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you'll get 15% off all cleaning services. That's right. Rugs, towel, upholstery, everything you can think of. Zero Res is ready to get you taken care of. So go ahead, make that phone call today and get them out to your home with their patented ZR Water technology that's ready to keep those rugs, the tile, the upholstery, everything, air ducts, all insanely clean. 803-262-4020. That's how you can get in touch with Zero Res this morning, or you can book with ease online. ZeroResColumbia.com. That's how you can track them down and to get them out to your house. Again, if you can use the promo code Summer Sale to get 15% off all cleaning services, or you can use my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. And again, that'll get you 15% off. So with those parties coming up this weekend, guests coming over, you want a nice, clean house, and you still got plenty of time to get the great people from Zero Res over to make sure it looks sparkling clean. 803-262-4020, or book with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Screaming Eagle Road at McCourts Ferry Road. Do have an accident there. Also an injury accident. Andrew Corley Road at North Lake Drive in Lexington. And big major tie-up that you're going to need to work around if you were coming from the Chapin area or up that direction. I-26 East.
Yeah, I agree, Craig. Draymond's pretty annoying. I'd still put Kyrie Irving in there, because Irving just says, like that quote I read, just ridiculous stuff. But you're not wrong. Draymond, it's not funny, but I guess it is kind of funny that it seems like all of the most annoying athletes are basketball players right now. Patrick, you think you got a reason for that?
I think there's something to
5 people in a court at a time, no helmets. Everyone knows what they look like. They make a lot of money.
Okay.
Just leads you to being a diva.
Not the one you have to settle for. Love Chevy. I-26 in Arkansas. LoveChevy.com. Find new roads.
In today's digitally driven world, the internet has become more than just a convenience or a luxury. Among other things, it keeps family members connected with.
I'll call for it when we come back. But play number 9, the final one, the message to the fans.
That's why the U.S. government created the Affordable Connectivity Program, also known as the KCP. This program provides
I look at my all I ever look at is the icon next to the Apple app, and all I see is thunderstorms for the next week and some change. It's hard to light fireworks in a thunderstorm. I thought it never rained on the 4th of July. I can't ever remember fireworks getting rained out. What do you do? Just save the fireworks for next year? I like the idea of waiting for a window where it stops raining and then just lighting them all off at once, like they did in San Diego. Have you ever seen the video of them doing that in San Diego one time? Everyone was lined up for a fireworks celebration, and they shot all of the fireworks off at once accidentally. And for about 30 seconds, it was the greatest thing you've ever seen. Yeah, if that, it was incredible. Yeah. 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 On our street, we used to host 4th of July parties, and my dad and his friends. And then when I got older, I was allowed to start helping. Yeah. One person light, run out of the way, go to the other side. Yeah. What's the sketchiest thing you've ever done with a firework? I have my answer.
5 fireworks in my lifetime. Like I've me going out and doing the lighter and actually trying to light the fireworks.
Because again, it's your coordination that is really the problem.
I get this. I'm not going to lie. I get the shakes. Like my hand starts like I'm terrified of stuff like that. Just, I think at some point early on in my life, my family scared me with the, you'll lose a finger. I was like, all right, well, I only got 10 of those and they don't grow back, at least as far as I know. So you go handle the fireworks. So no, I've never really gotten into the whole, all right, let me get out there and shoot the fireworks. Kind of like the people, one of the craziest things that I in my life do not understand, and I know people just find it pretty or whatever, but is the people that I see at those fireworks stands that pop up right now that are spending $50 to $100 to $150 on fireworks to shoot off on Saturday. Like fireworks are expensive.
Total, yeah, or you per piece.
Oh yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
And you know what? And there are people in our neighborhood who clearly have a bigger fireworks budget than I've ever even thought about. So I'm like, hey, you go spend that. I'll sit outside and watch yours. That's great.
We used to, whenever we would go to the beach for a couple years, stop at south of the border for fireworks on the way home.
Oh gosh.
And then in Maryland, I don't know what the fireworks laws are in South Carolina, but you can't buy fireworks in Maryland, so everybody drives to the Phantom Fireworks right over the border in Pennsylvania. Like right when you get over the border, there's a Phantom Fireworks there. So we would get those, and we because they were so expensive and we weren't allowed to shoot aerial fireworks, you could only shoot like fountains. So we basically adjusted our fireworks show, or my dad adjusted his fireworks show down the road to be, instead of buying aerials that were really cool, but they'd be over in 10 seconds and you just burn $50 in 10 seconds, it would be like a red, white, and blue fountain that shoots like 12 feet in the air and it just looks cool. And
that's cool.
It would run for like 45 minutes. So things like that. That's how we always adjusted, because it's just a better bang for your buck.
Yeah. Literally bang for your buck. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't, like Craig says, there's a setup at Costco right now for almost $300. And I see people come back with the big boxes and they've got multiple, the multiple options in there, and you just kind of go through them and it just pops. I've just never been a fireworks person. And even Jen, as you said, watching other people's fireworks, it captivates me for all of about 22 seconds. And then I kind of move on to something else. Like it's just not something that I really get involved or invested with. So I'm always kind of, it's not of my interest when we do that. Now I'll watch again on Saturday night if it's not thunderstorming, because that would be, again, poor viewing, but I will watch the Lake Murray fireworks, and they're nice. But I don't, and spending the money, I still can't, that's insane to me. Patrick, how much do you think you've ever spent on fireworks?
Oh, me? I haven't bought them, but going to the store with my dad for fireworks, driving to Phantom, that was always fun. It would be, I don't know, like $500.
Jen, have you at least?
Wow.
Oh, good Lord.
No,
that's a firework.
close.
Jen, have you ever spent money on fireworks?
No, I've let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
But did you guys ever like the little things called snakes?
See it again. Yeah, those, they just burn.
Yeah, it's just like a little sulfur tablet or something that is, I always thought the smell was, I love to smell it. Like, is that weird?
I liked the smoke bombs that just make a colored smoke.
Oh, yeah, those aren't bad. But yeah, I just like the snake because it kind of just turns into a little pellet and then it turns into a little snake, and then that smell is amazing.
So I didn't even like, what's the little sticks you light? And you just
Sparklers?
Sparklers. I didn't even like those. I was terrified of just the
You're getting burned from those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got
It's good to be respectful for sure.
There you go. We've covered everything in hour number one. Deshaun Watson, Kyrie Irving, South Carolina got a football commitment, and fireworks. Boy, hour number two should be a lot of fun. We got to let you listen to a little bit of Ray Tanner, number 15 on our countdown of top 30 players. So much to do. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Metz Plumbing is growing and looking for exceptional plumbers and apprentices. If you enjoy helping people and our community, if you want a flexible work schedule, if you're looking to earn $85,000 to $100,000 per year plus benefits and paid time off, if you want free training in order to become a licensed plumber, and if you're ready for a rewarding career as part of a family, then we want to talk to you. For information, call Ashley at 732-DRIP or apply online at metzplumbing.com.
Metz Plumbing, 732-DRIP. Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage?
Oh.
Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation.
Yeah, Justin, I've never spent that kind of money on fireworks. I don't even know what Excalibur is, but not where my money will go this weekend.
Mm-mm. But hey,
All
for
right,
those
let's see.
who do, if that's something that you really enjoy, then yeah, absolutely do it.
Well, and so RL was asking me about the grill, and I think I told y'all this yesterday. After extensive research and looking, I've settled on a Camp Chef pellet grill.
Mm-hmm.
But that changed the budget by about $700, and it went from $500 on a Pit Boss, which is a really good one. It looked really good, but it went from $500 to now $1,200, and so we've got the cruise coming up in August. Austin's still got soccer stuff. I'm going to check. Who knows? Now, if maybe I'll come back this weekend after a big weekend in Cherokee and come back with enough to purchase me a Camp Chef pellet grill. But
there you go.
We're just one turn of the roulette table away. One turn.
Right, videos are always difficult on the live stream, but
Patrick's got a shared screen coming.
Oh, I do remember that.
Just a fire going up. People are terrified.
Can you think how loud that was?
An 18-minute show in 15 seconds.
This is insane.
It was like, but I packed lunch and everything.
I'm done. Okay.
Best fireworks show ever. Yeah, I think everyone was very confused. They're like, wow, that's how it starts. How are you going to match that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a great party. That would be so much fun. Those are the people that I love the most.
Because I love me some meat. On your home of the Gamecocks.
I love me some meat. I can't stand myself.
107.5.
Let me finish, Bill.
The Game.
$7:01 on your Tuesday morning commute. Keeping you updated. We'll keep you updated with a little bit of traffic this morning. Weather, it looks like more rain, potentially 48% chance of rain today. So a lot that we are trying to help you with along the way. Talk a little bit of sports, and as we did in the last segment, get you ready for 4th of July weekend with firework discussion. And on our live stream, where you can go to youtube.com, search 107.5 The Game, and click and subscribe. You can be one of the over 1,000 subscribers we have now. As we continue to grow our live stream audience each and every morning, you can go and weigh in on discussions and talk with us off air as we banter back and forth. Over 1,070 subscribers now. Very pleased with all of our YouTube subscriber community that pops on the live stream each and every morning. And again, you can go and watch us. You can also rewatch any old video that we have on our YouTube page there. You can also check us out on Facebook. I don't want to leave out the Facebook folks as well, but you can go to YouTube and you can go back and check out any episode. So if you missed something, you want to go back and rewatch while you're sitting at the office, not working hard, getting ready for 4th of July weekend, and you want to catch some of that firework discussion and see Patrick's video that he put up on that on the live stream, you can go and do that. Again, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join and subscribe our little community there. Again, a lot that we talked about in the first hour. We'll get to more coming up in about 10 minutes. We will have the number 15 player on our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. And I think number 15 is going to be one that's going to bring some positive but strong emotions from a lot of people. So I'll be interested to discuss that a little bit. It's a player that Patrick, you know who number 15 is. Are you know who number 15 is, but are you going to have any memories of this guy? It's before your time, but
yeah, not really.
Okay. All right. Well, we will get into that in the next segment. So again, if you want to weigh in on anything this morning, 803-404-6100. Really kind of a slow news day yesterday, but the news of the day, Deshaun Watson, NFL going for an indefinite suspension, but at least no less than 1 year. We discussed that a little bit in hour number one. Kyrie Irving opting in and will stay with the Brooklyn Nets. And then putting out a really strange quote, even for Kyrie Irving, after he has accepted $36.5 million. He says, normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I guess being different meant opting in for $36.5 million, because I guess technically that is different than what the three of us are doing this morning. Is that fair?
Yes. You see who also got a great deal, though, is John Wall, just getting bought out, opted into his $40 million player option for a team that wouldn't even allow him to step on the court.
Right.
Then getting bought out, and now he gets to go sign with the Clippers.
Yeah, that's all that
These
is.
NBA guys live a good life.
They do live a very. That's why when I asked who some of the most annoying players are in sports, most of the people who responded went with NBA players, and maybe that's why that is. So that was really the news, national news yesterday. Locally, Grayson Howard, 4-star linebacker out of Andrew Jackson High School in Jacksonville, Florida, 6'3", 223-pound. Again, 4-star linebacker, commits to South Carolina over offers from Florida and Georgia. He had actually taken official visits to Florida on June the 3rd and Georgia on June the 10th. He visited South Carolina officially this past weekend and commits to South Carolina yesterday. Did you watch the video of his commitment there, Patrick? Did you get a chance to watch
the interview?
No, just the little video. I guess Justin King did it because Justin King did it because he Pup Howard on his social media, on his Twitter yesterday, basically said thank you to Justin King, the absolute best in the business. But it was just a video of him kind of talking about thanking everybody for his recruitment, and it's just a video of him walking, I guess, into Shane Beamer's office, and like the final thing to announce his commitment is like a view of Williams-Brice Stadium from Shane Beamer's office. Nothing fancy or flashy, no hats or fireworks or cars or nothing like that. Just
a highly produced video.
Have you seen it?
No, it's sharp.
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great video, very, very low key. And again, just kind of because you're watching it and listening, I assume listening to me or talking with me, I assume you're not listening to it, but he, again, a very well done video, but a good pickup for South Carolina. And big picture, now you have Stone Blanton from last year. You have Donovan Westmoreland. That's 3 linebackers in 2 classes. South Carolina is also heavily involved with another Florida linebacker, Jaden Robinson, who is another 4-star linebacker out of the state of Florida. If South Carolina were to land him, Patrick, you mentioned it, how the positions kind of work out is to be decided. But if you add Jaden Robinson, again, another linebacker out of the state of Florida, 4-star kid who's got multiple high-end offers, you would deem what Clayton White's done with that linebacker room to be a complete flip and be SEC caliber.
Yeah, for sure. You just want more athletes at that position, especially today with how the game is evolving and needs to be played more in space. You just get athletes on campus, and as far as the mental part, you just trust Clayton White. He's been doing this a long time to get him up to speed and get him comfortable with the system and get him comfortable with what offenses are going to do to try and take advantage of them. So, yeah, I think he's done a great job revamping the linebacker room. And by the way, I just watched the video, and what I gather from watching without volume is that it's the last scene is him opening the door in Williams-Brice Stadium is there. So you weren't supposed to know where he was committed until he opens the door.
Correct.
But anyone from South Carolina watched the whole video and was like, "Oh, he's walking on the horseshoe."
Is that where
he spends a minute walking on the horseshoe? And as a South Carolina fan, I was like, okay, well, he just walked past the journalism school. Yep, there he goes. He's in the ops building. Like, South Carolina fans probably knew for the whole minute that he was
what he was doing.
South Carolina's campus. Yeah.
He you talk about, I don't want to say odd recruiting stories, but this was a kid who South Carolina, he had been very vocal about South Carolina being his leader. He had visited South Carolina from Jacksonville 9 times over the last year and a half. I mean, this is a young man who had done his homework on South Carolina and obviously felt very comfortable with Clayton White, with the direction of the program. You mentioned it in hour number 1. If you're a South Carolina fan, some of the comments about the culture and about Shane Beamer and some of the things that he just said in his commitment interviews speaks to what Shane Beamer's trying to do. And I think what South Carolina is hoping to have.
Yeah, and you need good players to, I think, we got a commitment yesterday too, right? By the way. South Carolina.
That's what we're talking about.
No. There was. I thought there was another one. There's still another one unannounced.
There was
unannounced.
Yes. Okay. A second welcome home. Yes.
Yeah.
Late last night. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I was like, am I doing a different program than you, or what? Aren't we talking about the commitment? Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. There was. Yeah. A
because the comment was great players want to play with great players, right?
Right. Yeah. There was a second welcome home. I don't know. Sometime 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30ish, somewhere in that ballpark last night, where Shane Beamer did put out a second welcome home. Yeah, I forgot about that, because these welcome homes, until they announce officially, I tend to forget now at this point.
Yeah, there needs to be a whole website devoted to the welcome home trackers and saying, all right, well, I think this one was this guy. I think this one was this guy. So I don't know. Grayson Howard could have been a welcome home from 3 weeks ago that just had.
Could be the one from January for all we know.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know when it was, so we just know that the number of commits doesn't line up with the number of welcome homes. But yeah, this guys like that. That's how you need guys like that to build classes around, because guys want to play with other good players, and you need good players to commit to your program to show to other good players, hey, look how many good players are wanting to play at South Carolina. It's just a chicken and the egg thing.
Yeah, 803-404-6100. Jaden Robinson, the other linebacker I was talking about, 6'1", 215, out of Lake City, Florida, has visited Maryland and Kentucky this month as well, has Michigan offer, and is contemplating visiting them. So that's the other linebacker South Carolina really aiming for in this class. And again, if they are to land a Jaden Robinson, if you talk position specific, you've got Westmoreland and Stone Blanton from the previous class, who are 4-star linebackers. You'd have Jaden Robinson and Pup Howard in this class, who are 4-star linebackers. And Jaden Robinson does profile Patrick at that size, 6'1", 215, as more of your prototypical outside linebacker with the speed. And you talked about with the type of offenses that are being run down the spread, you've got to have multiple guys that can play a variety or be very versatile, is what I should say there, in how they wanted to defend and how you wanted to defend. So we'll see there if South Carolina is able to land Jaden Robinson. Again, we'll wait and see. There was some other recruiting news yesterday. Trayon Webb, running back out of Jacksonville, another player who some people are thinking maybe Penn State, some people thinking maybe South Carolina, some people still thinking maybe Florida. Trayon Webb yesterday announcing he was expected to commit on Thursday, June the 30th. He announced that he will not make a commitment on June 30th. And again, Dylan Longren will move his commitment back from July the 5th to July the 12th. So a few other recruiting news and notes there from yesterday. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program coming up this hour. Up next, we'll let you listen to up next, we will get you the number 15 player in our countdown. Do we have it, Jen? Do you know?
We may have a little technical glitch on that, so we may have to postpone that just a smidge.
Okay. All right. So we will get you that at some point this hour, the number 15 player in our countdown of top 30 players of the SEC era. We'll also let you listen to Ray Tanner from yesterday. He had a message for the fans. He was on the halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy around 1:30 yesterday, talking a lot of baseball. Mark Kingston, the direction of the program, and he had a message for the fans. Ray Tanner did. We'll let you listen to that, and we'll get into Brad Crawford of 24/7 Sports. Has put out his game-by-game breakdown predictions for South Carolina I'll get you those as well, and we'll discuss. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Perret. It's Jen Jensen. It's a Tuesday morning here on the 107.5 The Game Studios. Stay right here. We'll see if Jen can get that thing set up. If not, we'll carry on just as we always do. Right, Jen?
Absolutely. We are nothing if not the epitome of pivoting.
Excellent discussion. Epitome. Love the use of the word, especially when I can't say Wimbledon or Longren. But you hit
Lonergan.
Whomever it may be. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Tuesday edition of the Extra Point, we will react to Ray Tanner's State of the Athletic Department address. We heard yesterday on the halftime show. We'll continue to talk South Carolina recruiting. We'll find out what Christian McCaffrey learned from Marshall Faulk and how he plans to try to get healthy to help the Carolina Panthers overachieve relative to pretty low expectation this year for the Panthers. All that and more coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection.
Patrick, your guy, Johnson, is that happened quick. All of a sudden, he went down quick. Now he lost the first set. He is up here in the second.
I switched over to the Vanderbilt spring game.
Oh. Wow. Give us a good breakdown of the Vanderbilt spring game.
There's a dozen people there.
So a couple parents wandered in.
Yeah, I mean, we make the Dutch Fork could beat this team, but I genuinely think that if Dutch Fork does a spring game, there's going to be more people than at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one thing for Derek Mason is he at least was able to generate some kind of excitement, but
right now at 107.5.
This is Zach Yell from CBS Sports, better sponsored by NACO. Better get NACO. Visit NACO.com to book an appointment today. It seems Damian Lillard wants to stay in Portland. It's also expected that Bradley Beal will sign a supermax with the Wizards. I appreciate loyalty, but sometimes loyalty can be synonymous with stupidity. Both deserve a shot to win it all. They don't have that in their current home. But if that's time for Damian Beal to leave, they can continue to stay, and it's one on Zach Gill.
I think Dimitrov is hurt.
The what?
Dimitrov is hurt. Maybe he's just chafing.
To do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. To do more with a Latitude laptop, Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Scratches, dents, unexpected natural events.
That sounded good. Like fireworks. That was loud.
Go to NACO.com to book your appointment today. Sponsored by SRGExpress.com. The specialized recruiting group takes an individual approach to placing people in contract and full-time roles. And they're ready to help you find your next opportunity. Visit SRGExpress.com to get connected with an employment expert.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Pioneer Tree Service has more than 4 decades of helping homeowners maintain and manage trees on their property. Their skilled crew offers customized solutions that match your needs. But tree trimming and tree removal can be dangerous. You need to trust the people that are doing the job. Before attempting to remove them, call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote. If you remove limbs safely, make sure the future bush is directed away from potential trouble areas such as roof lines and driveways. Cutting down trees takes more than a chainsaw. Even branches can weigh thousands. Your removal must be handled with care. Pioneer Tree Service offers a full complement of state-of-the-art heavy equipment, from track hose to bucket trucks to safely remove trees, stumps, from your property. And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. And I want you to call them at 803-794-8253.
You're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders. I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time
I think we'll go back into some of that firework conversation here in a little while. Fireworks, good or bad?
Yeah, I think there's some valid discussion there.
Patrick, we're going to going in August. Going in August to the Bahamas and to the little Royal Caribbean island, whatever it's called, Perfect Day Coco or whatever. So it'll be the first like legitimate vacation. Patrick took his first legitimate vacation in several years back around Memorial Day. This will be my first legitimate vacation since Disney in 2019. Jen, I don't think you've had a legitimate. I mean,
Other
you know,
than-
the
Yeah,
Indy
like a-
500 is a vacation, but it's not like, you know.
It's a weekend away, you know, but as far as a vacation with a destination that's not going home, no, it's been a
Well,
while.
like going to the mountains this week. I'm going tomorrow after the show. Tomorrow, Thursday, I'll come back Friday, play golf and hang at Harrah's Casino. But I don't know if I consider that a vacation as much as just a trip. I think there's a difference between trips and vacations.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
You said there is?
What is the difference?
I don't know. To me, there's just a vacation. To me, is more relaxing, whereas a trip, like we're gonna play golf at 3, dinner.
So I didn't take a vacation. I didn't go to Texas for vacation.
Yeah, you did. It was I mean, it's busy.
Yeah, I mean, we drove an hour and a half to 2 hours every day to drive to a new city.
Oh wait, what is?
It's a baseball something.
12th straight College World Series win, both national records. With Carolina leading Florida 5-3 in the 8th, Matt Price on the mound, center fielder Evan Marzilli ensured that the Gamecocks would protect that lead. Here are Andy Demetra and yours truly.
Griner flashes the sign, and here's the payoff pitch. Swing and a rope into left center field. Marzilli on his horse dives. He makes the catch in the gap in left center.
Wow. I don't believe what I just saw, Andy. I do not believe that catch.
I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that catch?
Listen to this crowd.
And you knew he made the catch by the reaction from the bleachers. Laying out on his horse in the gap in left center with a full slide.
If that's not the number one in the top 10 tonight, I don't know what could be.
We are talking full extension, and there's one out in the Florida 8.
Carolina would win it 7-3. And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market, with 3 locations, Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Omaha.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Hold on.
Get you the number 15 player, Jen working hard behind the scenes. This is why you got to go to the live stream. You see Jen working hard this morning.
We have it.
We'll get you the number 15 player here on our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. Let me, as we get it here to you in just a second. This was a player, start of the Steve Spurrier era, transition of Holtz to Spurrier. I think will be is a fan favorite. Has set many records. Here is that number 15 player in our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 15, wide receiver Kenny McKinley.
And I'm joined now by senior receiver Kenny McKinley. Touchdown, Carolina! Touchdown, Kenny McKinley!
Kenny McKinley graduated from South Cobb High School in Austell, Georgia. As a quarterback during his senior year, he passed for 1,470 yards and 16 touchdowns and rushed for 750 yards while scoring 12 touchdowns. He was rated the 54th best athlete in the country by Rivals.com. Lofts it up to the corner. McKinley, touchdown! That's what he does. During his sophomore year at Carolina, McKinley would go on to earn first-team All-SEC honors from the SEC coaches, the AP, and collegefootballnews.com.
Dancing around Kenny McKinley, and he dances to the tune of 6 points.
As a junior, Kenny led the SEC in receptions and receiving yards per game. McKinley finished up his senior season by setting Gamecock records for career receptions and receiving yards, becoming only the 5th player in SEC history with over 200 career catches.
I broke a couple of records, and to be the all-time leading receiver, it's a good accomplishment.
McKinley was drafted in the 5th round of the 2009 NFL draft by the Denver Broncos.
Anyway, Kenny was certainly one of my favorite all-time players. He was one of them.
Number 15, wide receiver Kenny McKinley. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
And there he is, Kenny McKinley, former South Carolina Gamecock from 2005 to 2008 is, I think, again, we talk about what we're doing here on 107.5 The Game and how we did it, obviously putting out the list and for people to be able to go and vote. I don't know, Patrick, at times if the list has necessarily been a who's the best player of the last 30 years, or has it been more of a popularity contest? But McKinley, I think, is definitely one of the more popular players to come through. The way he the way he interacted with the fan base during his time. I know you're not quite as familiar with him. Again, McKinley's career at South Carolina, I remember him committing to Lou Holtz. I'm not 100% sure if Lou recruited him as a quarterback or if he recruited him with the intention of moving him to wide receiver. I don't really remember that back in 2004, but he arrives for Steve Spurrier's first year and made a pretty solid impact right away. 25 catches, 291 yards, and a touchdown in his first season with the Gamecocks. Of course, Sidney Rice was in the middle of being just a monstrous wide receiver at that point for Steve Spurrier. And then in 2006, McKinley and Rice really formed one of the better wide receiving duos in the SEC as McKinley would have 51 catches for 880 yards and 5 touchdowns that year. Of course, one of the more memorable catches came in the Liberty Bowl against Houston, where he called a deep pass down the sidelines, ran in for a touchdown late in that game to kind of secure the victory, and of course proceeded to throw the ball, Patrick, into the stands. He was so excited, and after the game, Spurrier had a quote that was pretty memorable saying, yeah, we would have given a game ball, or we gave a game ball to Kenny McKinley. He just threw his into the stands. So,
he had a good arm too, right?
He was a high school quarterback that, again, I don't remember, obviously, with Lou Holtz wanting to run a specific type of offense that he had run at Notre Dame. I don't remember in 2004, as McKinley was being recruited, exactly how he was being recruited by Lou Holtz, but obviously came in and you instantly saw what could happen for Steve Spurrier's is he put McKinley. McKinley, by the way, if people remember, Patrick, I know obviously, again, you weren't around for this. South Carolina in that recruiting class, Spurrier comes in. McKinley's already committed and was going to come to South Carolina. South Carolina landed 2 very highly thought of wide receivers, 2 big-time 4-star prospects. One was O.J. Murdoch out of Tampa. The other was Carlos Thomas. Thomas would go on to be a defensive back and end up being a pretty solid defensive back early on in Steve Spurrier's tenure. O.J. Murdoch never panned out to be anything, but it was McKinley the unheralded guy out of that group that would go on to be the big-time prospect. And a couple of you weighing in this morning, RL, on our live stream saying number 11 had excellent hands and footwork. Certainly what he would go on to do during his Carolina career, I think, the epitome of, hey, all right, this guy's a 3-star. Maybe we don't expect much out of him. And he turns into a guy who blossoms and becomes one of the most remembered South Carolina wide receivers of all time.
What is what is a comparison for him? Was he like a get open in the slot, like beat people off the line with footwork, or like you throw him a screen and he'll take it after the catch, or like he'll get open behind the defense?
He was an incredible – McKinley was an absolutely incredible route runner.
So like a slot guy that just dusted people off the line?
Yeah, he had I remember – and I'm sure I remember doing an interview with Steve Spurrier Jr., wide receiver coach, and he talking about McKinley having natural foot ability, and he would call it foot fire, where at the line of scrimmage, McKinley was so good at being able to chop his feet, kind of be able to throw the defensive back off balance a little bit and then get around him and beat him, as you just said, at the line of scrimmage. McKinley was never a guy that I think we thought of as being the ultimate speedster that would just beat you on a flat. I don't remember, aside from that Houston game, I don't remember many, and maybe people do, I don't remember many that Kenny McKinley just flat beat people down the field. But it was precise route running and the ability to do that. I'm looking back, the touchdown pass that I'm thinking of in the Liberty Bowl against Houston, which was a great game, Patrick. Kevin Cobb, the quarterback for Houston. I think that was a Dana Holgerson-led team, and they had a very prolific offense, a fun game that was 28-27 at halftime. Houston led, and South Carolina would kick a field goal in the third quarter, but Blake Mitchell hit Kenny McKinley down the sideline for a 43-yard touchdown pass late to secure the victory, and then Houston was able to score a little bit there towards the very end of the ball game. But he was a precise route runner. I'd almost label him a technician, knowing exactly how to get open and made some really big plays for the Gamecocks early on during his career.
You know what he ran in the 40?
I'd guess again, I don't think it's going to blow people away. Is it going to blow people away?
That's pretty fast.
I mean, he wasn't a slow guy. Was it in the 4.4s?
It's 4.37.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was a slow guy. I don't remember. Maybe people do. I don't remember him necessarily being known for what I would say was elite level speed, but a 4.37 is a pretty solid time.
So like quicker than he is fast type of guy, but still also really fast. I mean, I was watching him. I don't know if this is like a deep cut. He plays for the Bills now, but I was watching him and I was like, that looks like Jamison Crowder.
Yeah. I mean, again,
I just watched his highlight video during this segment.
Yeah.
While you were talking.
Yeah. He again, and thank you to Ross on our live stream. Art Briles. That's right, not Holgerson. Art Briles was the coach at Houston when South Carolina took them on. But I would say that's a fair comparison. I mean, again, he was not a big physical wide receiver, but he was a guy who certainly used his speed and his quickness to get up. We'll continue talking about him. We'll get into a little bit of what Ray Tanner had to say yesterday, and we've got a few other things we want to discuss this morning. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. If you've got a Kenny McKinley memory, go ahead, send it in. We'll get it on there. 803-404-6100. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 30, quarterback Steven Garcia.
Gamecocks win. Garcia with a brilliant game.
Number 29, running back Mike Davis.
That Georgia fella can run. Good gracious.
Number 28, defensive back J.C. Horn.
Now Nick throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. There's J.C. Horn again making a play.
Number 27, wide receiver Brian Edwards.
And with that touchdown reception of 23 yards, Brian Edwards has become the all-time leader in receiving yards at South Carolina.
Number 26, defensive back, Sheldon Brown.
Reese swings it out to Bush, and the ball is knocked away, and an incomplete pass, and a crunching hit put on by Sheldon Brown. And Bush takes a while to get up.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Well, things have opened up a little bit on I-26 eastbound between mile marker 91 and 97, but still very slow going. And you kind of go between the right lane being blocked and then the left lane being blocked in that stretch of highway. So if you still can find an alternate route, that would be advisable, but they do have the highway open, just lane blockages as you're navigating that 6 mile stretch. So again, the big slowdown, I-26 eastbound between mile marker 91 and 97. Also still working that earlier accident in Lexington, Andrew Corley Road at North Lake Drive. Looking for storms off and on throughout the week. 83 for the high today, 84 tomorrow. And it's a bit cloudy right now, and 76.
Yeah, Kenny was you're right, Craig. He was a smaller dude. But man, he was quick. He could get off the line of scrimmage. Really good player. Really, really good player. Oh, boy. Thank you, Ross. Yeah, I think you're right. It was Art Briles. I don't know why I was thinking Holgerson. And yeah, I hope Shaq. Shaq was in 2013. Sounds right. I think that's right. He just didn't fit. You remember Roland? I think Shaq actually ended up with some decent numbers when it was all said and done. Had a couple incredible catches. He got in trouble going into that Central Florida game. What was that? That was 14. Actually, Shaq might have been. I think Shaq made it 3 years, I feel like. Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't know exactly where he is at now. I don't really hear about him being around Lexington. Let's see. He finished his career with 50. Shaq finished his career with 56 catches for 1,991 for 891 yards and 10 touchdowns. Actually, surprisingly decent numbers. 2012, by the way. 2012 was the year that Shaq started. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, especially 20. Yeah, he had 25 catches, 455 yards, and 5 touchdowns in 2013, and 26 catches, 356 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 2014.
Ready to get lasting relief from your joint pain? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about how natural biologic treatments can get you lasting results. Call now. It's a free consultation. 803.
I'm looking at the top athletes from 2012 to see who was above Shaq Rowland. Number 1 is Arik Armstead.
Oh, the defensive end that went. Where'd he go? Oregon? Or
he went to Oregon, yeah. But can he be an athlete? He's 6'8", 285.
That help flush out airborne germs with Pyrus suction. But what do doctors have to say about pneumonia? Here's Dr. Tony Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens, viruses, and when that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes people miserable. You get cold, flu, sinus infections, or even worse, flushing your nose with saving solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous items out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Mavage.
What were the Yankees doing last? Who threw? Oh, Canelo Alvarez and Triple G each threw out the first pitch. Oh, are these two fighting? Canelo and Triple G. How old is Canelo Alvarez now? Oh, we got a poly sighting.
31 for Canelo.
$7:37 on a Tuesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. If you're on our live stream, you just saw Polly the dog joining Patrick there live as we carry you through. Again, you can go to YouTube.
I missed her.
Yeah, that's okay. She's a
Doing
dog.
work.
Probably
She'll
be
be
back.
back.
Yeah. She likes to make appearances on the live stream. So you can go again to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join and subscribe. Hang out with us there. Craig and Hope having a conversation on the live stream as it pertains to wide receivers. Craig weighing in saying Kenny was 165 pounds tops, but what a player. On our text line, anonymous texter saying was in middle school at the time and had two dogs named Sydney and McKinley. And Patrick, South Carolina, when we were discussing Brian Edwards and then kind of into the Pharaoh Cooper and even into the Ace Sanders discussion a little bit, South Carolina has had a pretty strong history of wide receivers and even players going to the NFL and going on to pretty decent careers. When you talk about Sidney Rice, Alshon Jeffrey, obviously Demir Bird has been able to catch on and have at least a lengthy career so far and kind of hang around. Brian Edwards now in the NFL. So we know that Debo guy, what he's doing, although I don't know if I'm supposed to call him a wide receiver or not, but
Wide back.
Okay. Yeah. But again, you look back and that was Brooks and Sharp. I know those. You probably think that's a country tandem that I just said.
It's a good name.
But I'm trying to think 803-404-6100. If you start thinking about 1-2 punches at wide receiver, McKinley and Rice have got to be up there. I'll have to go back and pull what exactly Sidney Rice's numbers were in 2006. That was the monster year. But 51 catches for Kenny McKinley in 2006, 880 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was the year he teamed with Sidney Rice. And then in 2007, after Rice had left Patrick, McKinley became the go-to guy and one of the more monstrous wide receiver seasons for a Gamecock. 77 catches, 968 yards, 9 touchdowns that year. This is a guy that, again, probably with Sidney Rice gives you one of the top 5, I would think, Gamecock fans, if you're listening, 803-404-6100, top 5 all-time 1-2 punches at wide receiver. I would assume Robert Brooks and Sterling Sharp are number 1 on that list.
Was McKinley good as a returner or just there?
You go through some of the guys that we've discussed in the last few days. He didn't have a returning touchdown. He returned, he had a career 39 returns, punts and kicks, just punts, 269 yards. He had a 7-yard average. I mean, I wouldn't put him up there. I'd maybe compare him more favorably to what we saw with Brian Edwards, 3 years ago? Does that seem
Just
fair?
Reliable catcher of the punt.
Yeah.
Because it looks like he really only, in large part, returned his freshman and sophomore years. And then just probably, like a lot of guys, got too good that it wasn't worth risking him taking the hits.
Somebody can remind me, was it his senior year? Memory, age, all those things factor in here. He suffered a hamstring injury 1 year. I think it was his senior year. Somebody might remember a little bit better than me. I want to say it was his senior year. He suffered a hamstring early in the year, and it really hampered him throughout the year. There was a play in particular.
He only played 10 games his senior year.
Okay, then it was his senior year. Yeah, that was part of the problem. He suffered a hamstring injury, and it really limited him being an even better player his senior year. Was kind of unfortunate because again, you look at it, you look at the junior season statistics, Patrick, and obviously they were through the roof. By the way, just for record, you had McKinley in 2006. Let me give it to you again: 51 receptions, 880 yards, and 5 touchdowns. In 2006, Sidney Rice had 72 receptions, 1,090 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Pretty strong 1-2 punch there. I'd put him maybe in the top 3. I don't know if Gamecock fans, older Gamecock fans, would agree with me on that, or where they would go in terms of 1-2 punches, Patrick. But Rice and McKinley certainly have got to be up there in terms of all time, like 1-2 players there at the wide receiver position.
Who else is in that? Are Debo and Brian Edwards in that running?
I just don't think that they delivered that at the time.
They didn't win.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be something. I've said that for the Muschamp era guys, is that you have some nice moments. I don't know what some of the signature moments are. We'll continue talking about this. We'll if you've got a 1-2 punch at wide receiver, Kenny McKinley was a big part of that, and obviously then went on to being a big part of the 2007 season with a monster year. We'll continue talking about that this morning, get into a little bit more. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Game Time.
Hey, it's Heath. Coming up on Tuesday. It's Tuesday, which means Tuesdays with Morgan. Mike Morgan joins us at 3:30. We'll get his reaction to the end of the College World Series and more. Special guest at 4:15 on player number 15 in the listener top 30 countdown as well. We will see you at 3 o'clock.
Game Time with Heath Klein, 3 to 6 p.m. on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Things starting to improve a little bit after that major slowdown between
Travis, if you think about it, Troy Williamson would have been with Troy left in 2004. He would have been with Sidney Rice that first year.
For the high today with some scattered storms. Storms around tomorrow, 84 for the high. Right now, though, it's overcast. The sun is out right now, but it's 76. 25.
Sponsored by eBay Motors.
Wow, I did not know that. I thought for sure Robert Brooks.
I'm ready for a new one from eBay Motors. All the right guys, right price.
Jim, I thought for sure both were on the 87 team. I didn't realize Brooks came in 88. Huh.
But the tone changes as David remembers that God, not at his own resources.
How about that? I have sworn Robert Brooks.
Problems that I gave her the wrong stocking. Instead of the verse I intended, she stopped right in the middle of David's misery. Sensing the problem, she asked, Are you sure you want this stuff? I think we need to keep going. I told her to keep going.
I thought for sure both were on the 87 team. Morning, Chuck. All right, there you go. Now we got a good animal discussion going on here on the live stream.
how much time do you have as far as discussing what kind of dogs we have?
Oh yeah, there we go. Now you get the full gin on the live stream.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you guys are just
Oh, I grew up with German Shepherds.
a golden doodle.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a taller dog. It looks like a poodle, but it's taller.
Definitive protocols can address any pain in any
Okay, but taller.
Mhm. Yeah, so I have 2 mutts and a Siberian Husky. Mutt just
There you
sounds
go, Hunter.
cruel, you know. Mixed breed. How's that? Need a show and tell for pets one day.
Yeah, that sounds like something coming up in a few weeks here.
Heart of the summer. Yep. Oh yeah. I agree. The mutts, the mixed breeds, they're pretty solid. Good dogs.
All right, let's close some of these tabs here.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see.
I still have all the Tanner available.
Huh? Oh yeah, I'll get to that next hour. Yeah.
Gonna play in the 10 o'clock hour.
It doesn't happen much, but every once in a while on this program, I make a mistake.
What?
Yeah,
What?
that not often. Not often, but every once in a while, I make a slight mistake, and I've made a slight mistake, albeit an older mistake this morning. But I am actually, yes, we have a correction to the program, and I'm actually blown away by this. I've just always been under the assumption. Now, granted, I was 5 and 6 years old when this happened. So I'm going to wiggle out of my mistake by blaming age. Robert Brooks and Sterling Sharp did not play together. Jim on our live stream and Van Zell on our text line both pointing that out. Robert Brooks enrolled in 1988. Sterling Sharp's final season was 1987. So, Patrick, they are not the 1-2 duo or the number one duo in South Carolina history at wide receiver. I am stunned. I thought for sure I would have lost. I would be sitting here in my underwear had we put a bet on that, or I would have had my fingernails painted all kinds of colors, or who knows. Let's just put it this way. I would have gone in on a lot of stuff that both were on the 87 team. I have made a mistake. I apologize profusely. I beg of your forgiveness this morning. I did not know this.
Mandela effect. That's what that is.
Is it?
False memory.
False.
Yeah.
Well, I was 5 in 87. So, again, I'm going to plead youthfulness and that being 35 years ago. But, yeah, Robert Brooks, Patrick, to go back in time and to go pre-SEC on you, and, of course, you weren't even born, so – but you really don't even remember Sterling Sharp's NFL career and probably don't remember Robert Brooks' career. But those two wide receivers or who I grew up with had the number 2 Sterling Sharp jersey, or at least I've seen pictures of myself having those jerseys on, and Robert Brooks. And I mean, absolutely phenomenal receivers for South Carolina. But to go back into what we're discussing this morning on Kenny McKinley and pairing up with Sidney Rice, that was a very dangerous tandem there for Blake Mitchell in 05 and 06 to be able to work with. And I think now that I have acquired, thank you to our loyal listeners for correcting me for a completely inaccurate information on Sharp and Brooks. And by the way, Alan does hit us up and says they played together at Green Bay. I could also use that excuse and say that's what I remember, but
that's what you meant. Yeah,
I could go with that, but I'll just go with the youthful thing. I think McKinley is probably 803-404-6100 is Sidney Rice and Kenny McKinley the best all-time duo at South Carolina. Patrick, I know we go instantly to, I don't know if you would go duos. I don't know if you'd go foursomes. I would think Alabama and LSU in the last few years have had maybe some of the most dangerous we've ever seen in college football. Can you think of two guys on a college football team that instantly struck fear in your heart?
Yeah, I don't know if there was a correct answer, but Chase and Jefferson is the best I've ever seen, I think. I mean, I don't know how far back I could throw it because Jarvis Landry and Odell was great, but they didn't have good quarterbacks thrown to them, so they didn't really get to shine. But Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson were both outrageous at LSU and were behind the most prolific offense in the history of the sport, and then are also both probably fringe top 5 receivers already in the NFL and are both under the age of 25. So I would think that would be number one, but I don't know if you're throwing it way back if there was some ridiculous duo of 2 NFL All-Pros, because these are going to be 2 All-Pros.
Well, and that's why I'm kind of asking you who you remember. You know, even if you go back, I'm just glancing very quickly receiving wise. Again, in 2011, you had Alshon Jeffrey and Ace Sanders. Jeffrey had 49 catches. Ace had 29. They combined for just over 1,100 yards, and they had 10 combined touchdowns. That was 2011. 2010 for South Carolina, you had Alshon Jeffrey with 8. That was Alshon's monster year. 88 catches, 1,517 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Torrey Gurley was next on that list with 44 catches for 465 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I would still have the Jeffrey Gurley tandem behind that of Rice and McKinley in 2006. And again, the numbers we came up with in 2006 with Blake Mitchell's quarterback, you had Sidney Rice with 72 catches for 1,090 yards and 10 touchdowns. McKinley had 51 catches for 880 yards and 5 touchdowns. By the way, another guy that we've just mentioned on this list, Jared Cook, that year had 6 catches for 113 yards, Patrick. Solid little group of wide receivers and tight ends there that South Carolina was able to put on the field.
I'm looking at a Saturday Down South article that says the 12 best SEC receiver duos of the decade, and McKinley and Rice are number 2 on that list. So
really,
there you go. I did just see Stedman Bailey and Tavon Austin was another awesome duo.
Okay, yeah. So that's just a couple that we can kind of come to mind. So what was that? Give that list again. You had they were number 2
of a decade. It's hard for me to know what decade they're referring to because this was from 6 years ago. Number 1 was Amari Cooper and DeAndre White, but basically because Amari Cooper had 124 catches, 1,700 yards and 16 touchdowns in one season. So some of these are going to be weighted heavily for one person. Like Vanderbilt's on there with Jordan Matthews and Chris Boyd, Christian Kirk and Josh Reynolds from Texas A&M. There's very few. I don't think there's any with multiple 1,000-yard receivers on this list. I don't know how many times that's happened.
Yeah.
2013 LSU, Jarvis Landry had 1,193 yards. Odell Beckham had 1,152 yards.
803-404-6100. If you've got one, that's a pretty strong one right there. Let's see. Dan in Dalzell. Bill admits a fault. Jen's going to have a great day. AJ is either Rice McKinley or Ryan Bethea and Sterling Sharp. See, I've given the
just had a call about Bethea.
Given what I've admitted about my age and the lack of memory of the 87, 86 type season in there, I'm going to need help with the Ryan Bethea, Sterling Sharp stuff. I remember Sharp. And then Michael says, what about Troy Williamson? Williamson had some moments, but his speed is what stood out. Didn't have a monstrous career. We'll continue talking about this. I did promise that Ray Tanner audio from yesterday. We'll get into that a little bit. We got plenty to do, but good news. There's a whole nother hour. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919.
For nearly a quarter of a century, Midstate Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Midstate roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Midstate has to offer when you click on MidstateRoofing.com. Tell them, Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, MidstateRoofing.com.
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're a local South Carolina law firm dedicated to resolving your tax problems for good. Simply put, we solve tax problems. So if you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, or have years of unfiled tax returns, come meet with us in person. Your first visit is free and confidential. We'll show you how we will solve your problem and how much it'll cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It is time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina. So hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me, John Ecton.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work. Sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Hey, South Carolina, Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelers. Do you have jewelry you don't wear anymore? Do you want to put the value of that jewelry to better use? At Traditions, we pay top dollar for gold, silver, and diamonds. And with gold around $1,900 an ounce, you'll be amazed at how much your jewelry might be worth. And if you choose to repurpose your jewelry to get something new, we'll give you an extra 10% this month towards your new purchase. So don't just sit on jewelry you don't wear anymore. Take advantage of historically high gold prices and get the value you deserve. Only at Traditions Fine Jewelers on Sunset in Lexington, and now in Sandhills, where the Midlands get engaged.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game with Bill Gunter.
But we have a horse costume that we get in. I need somebody for the rear end. How about it, Bill? Come on over.
He's the rear end of the show every morning.
It's Patrick Perret.
There's a 0% chance that I will have a full wedding.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for your.
There's a 0% chance that will happen.
The future Mrs. Perret to put her foot down and
she can try. My feet are bigger. Guaranteed.
And Jen Jensen.
William Byron referring to Joey Logano, Jen, as a moron and an idiot.
Yeah, standard
vocabulary straight out of the Jen Jensen playbook right there when not happy with how something ends.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Final hour of the Tuesday morning episode of the early game. Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, kind of carrying you through here as we the number 15 player in our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. We've been talking about Kenny McKinley, who makes the list there at number 15. Been talking about him this morning. South Carolina, Shane Beamer gets, I don't know, Pat. I was going to say 2 commitments, but maybe Grayson Howard committed over the weekend and was one of the welcome homes, and he just went public yesterday. And then Shane Beamer last night putting out another welcome home on the Twitter. And in that welcome home, he put out that great players want to play with great players. Or was it, let me read it exactly as he said it. He says this came out 14 hours ago. So if we're doing math, 8, tack on another 6. So, okay, about 7 o'clock. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
About 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. Beamer put out a tweet last night. Well, that didn't take long. Great players, all caps, want to play with great players. And I just got a phone call from a great one. Now, some people have taken that to mean that it is Jaden Greathouse, the 4-star wide receiver out of Texas. A lot of people believe it is South Carolina and Notre Dame for his services. We'll see. I don't know of Jaden Greathouse having a announcement planned currently, but certainly there's people who have seen that, Patrick, and said, okay, that is obviously the guy that he is talking about. Oddly enough, not long after Shane Beamer put out that tweet, Trayon Webb, a running back out of Jacksonville, actually echoed the same sentiment. Great players want to play with great players. Kind of like, okay, I don't know if that's a coincidence or how that exactly works. You want to take a guess here?
I'm going to guess that some low-level 3-star safety committed. And people are like, okay, well, if Beamer thinks he's great, then he's great. I don't know. It's like a Netflix documentary. People trying to piece together the clues. Who is this? This is all coming together from message boards. This is on Twitter.
Both combination. The internet, just the internet as a whole.
Great house. Come on, it's got to be it.
3 greats.
3 greats.
I think.
Great. How great is? You say he's a 4-star?
Jaden Greathouse.
Yeah. What is he?
Yes, 4-star. I'll get you the exact ranking here in just a second.
But yeah, it's probably just play on words, having a good time with it.
Could he get in trouble for that? No, he couldn't, right? That's vague enough.
Yeah, this is more than vague enough. And I liked somebody last night, I think on one of the Twitter ones. Greathouse, by the way, would far and away be South Carolina's top-rated recruit in the class. He is the number 113 player overall in the class of 2013. He is the number 17 wide receiver in the class. Carries a 24/7 Sports composite rating of 94.78 with him. So he would be, and he's from Westlake High School in Austin, Texas, by the way. The best one I saw last night in response to it's got to be Greathouse. 3 greats, and he would be our 3rd wide receiver commitment. It just adds up. There's the internet working overtime for you.
I don't know if he meant to do the 3 wide receiver commits thing, but it was a lot of greats. It was a lot of greats. I'm not gonna tell them they're wrong.
See?
It was a borderline excessive use of the word great.
There you go.
So I don't hate that theory at all.
So there you go. So we do amateur detective this morning to figure out what the latest welcome home that popped in. But South Carolina gets an official commitment yesterday. Grayson Pup Howard out of Andrew Jackson High School, 6'3", 225 pounds, 4-star prospect by 24/7 Sports, the number 17 linebacker in the country, commits to South Carolina after taking official visits to Florida on June the 3rd and Georgia on June the 10th. So, and the part we've talked about more so, Patrick, this morning is Clayton White, defensive coordinator and linebacker coach, being able to flip the linebacker room a little bit now. This is his 3rd 4-star linebacker commitment in the last 2 years. Last year it was Stone Blanton and Donovan Westmoreland. So far he's added Grayson Howard this year. Jaden Robinson, another 4-star linebacker out of Lake City, Florida, is a guy that many people consider South Carolina the heavy leader for, and that actually might have been. That's if I had to take a guess, I would have guessed Jaden It's not Jaden Greathouse. Jaden Robinson, linebacker out of Lake City, who maybe called Beamer last night to make his intentions known. But we'll wait and see.
Because also great players want to play with great players. Wide receivers not really playing with a linebacker.
Yeah. So we'll see here. But 803-404 is how you can get in touch with us this morning to weigh in on anything. Did I say class of 2013? I apologize. Class of 2023. But anyway, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. So that's kind of the news yesterday. South Carolina getting the welcome home from Shane Beamer on the late in the evening, the one we don't know of. The other one, Grayson Pup Howard, being the commitment from yesterday. He now becomes South Carolina's highest rated commitment in the class, 4-star prospect, and we'll kind of see what happens moving.
I just love that
forward.
nickname, Pup.
Pup. Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of fun with that.
I'm sure it'll be a great name, image, likeness opportunity when he gets home when he gets to South Carolina.
Do you think players, because of NIL, now are working on getting nicknames any more than they used to, or is it kind of like, yeah, whatever? Because I know they still need their name, but like
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Oh, the Alabama player. I actually
the
thought you were just making
five-star-
that up for a minute, and then
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
like,
like-
yeah, okay.
No, the 5-star Alabama player who
see.
immediately, I think he plays for Alabama basketball too, but immediately got a Kool-Aid endorsement
Mhm.
when NIL passed.
There you go.
I just wonder if that's the next place we're headed, with names.
Why not? What was it? I
It's
think
just
it's
weird
I think
enough.
it's the offensive tackle who's about to probably commit to Clemson. It's Owens is his last name, and his nickname is Flapjack. Flapjack Owens.
Uh-oh.
He was a big Zakiah or whatever.
You
But
have to almost be a brand, like Kool-Aid McKinstry did, and just force the hand of the brand. Like Taylor Heineke was one where
Uh-oh.
Taylor Heineke blew up, and everyone's like, "Where's his Heineken deal?"
Right.
And immediately Bud Light swooped in and was like, "No, you're Bud Lightekey," and that's genius. Whenever
Yep.
you can work the name into it, you just got to do it.
100%.
Buffalo, would you change your name to Buffalo Bill permanently for like a Buffalo Trace endorsement?
oh, Buffalo. I was afraid you were going to go for like a Buffalo hot sauce.
That's
and I
what
was
I
going to be
thought.
like, nah, I
Yeah.
don't think that's worth it. But Buffalo Trace, I mean, change it permanently. Like go to the
Yeah.
courthouse.
Yeah, your middle name's Bill, your first name's Buffalo.
It's got to be a strong. It can't just be free Buffalo Trace for the rest of my life. There's going to have to be some.
We're talking more like the Live Golf Series kind of money to change my name.
I'm pushing. I have a price. If one thing we're establishing this summer, if we're establishing anything at all this summer, it's that we all have a price, and I have a price. But yeah, to do that, it's going to involve a lifetime supply of Buffalo Trace, but it's also going to involve something that
You can spend
yeah.
to have with the Buffalo Trace.
right. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna need something to buy the water to mix it with, or the water to make the ice. 803-404-6100. Yep. Craig weighing in says Jen gets a Morse code deal.
Really?
There you go.
Okay.
Look at you. And
There's nothing exciting with that. What can I do with Jensen?
and Carrot, I don't know who the official Carrot conglomerate or maker of carrots is in America. Do we know that, Big Carrot?
No.
The leading producer of carrots. Do we know what company is doing that?
Biggest carrot.
I didn't know if maybe you
company.
went on a bunny route, but I guess not. He probably wouldn't like that very much.
Grimway Farms,
Grimwell, of course. Of course.
the
Why would?
largest grower, producer, and shipper in the world.
There you go.
Headquartered in
Yeah, not so
Bakersfield,
good.
California.
There we go. See,
I
we
don't
get
really like carrots though. That's the problem.
Does Carrot Top endorse you? Does he make enough money?
Like if I had to eat carrots every day, I would have to get a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. So
not
I really
that
don't even have a clue how Pup Howard. That's right. Jen brought it up with the nickname and the name image. Like sometimes I have to backtrack to remember how we ended up
There's
on the
that
certain
rabbit hole.
topic.
Mhm.
803-404-6100. Ray Tanner yesterday speaking to Jay, Tommy, and Terry. He had a message for the fans as it pertains to South Carolina baseball. Here's what he had to say yesterday when asked about the program and his message to fans on where South Carolina baseball currently is.
I think my message right now is hang with us. I mean, we're in a position that I feel like we can get it turned, and it doesn't take 5 years to turn it. We talked about the portal. There's a pretty good nucleus, I believe, from where I sit, and talking to Coach Kingston, a pretty good nucleus of players coming back. So I think you can turn it real quick. But that's, back in the day, I remember there were times that, our fans weren't all that pleased with maybe how we were playing or what we were doing. And in a baseball environment, you can hear a little bit. When you're in the dugout area, you can hear it. But the message I sent to my players is it's a compliment. It's the expectations are really compliments. Maybe the delivery is not what you want, but our fan base and our supporters want to see you do well. They're frustrated when you don't. So are we. So are the players. And so I think all those things are good. But like I said, you want to get it turned, and you want to get it turned quickly.
That's what Ray Tanner had to say, kind of his message to fans yesterday on the halftime show with Jay, Tommy, and Terry and Patrick. You hear that, and I think there's truth to it. It's more so, though, that fans don't want to hear it, right? Like what Ray is saying, what he said yesterday is true. It's just for this baseball program, for this fan base, they don't want to hear, stick with us. We're close. We're almost there. Things, injuries. They want to just see results and production.
Yeah, and it was never this bad. I mean, it's been 22 plus 4, 26 years. 26 years since the last losing
Correct.
season.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, that's not to say you can't quickly turn it around, and it's never been easier to quickly, not easier, but it's never been more manageable to rebuild a program quickly because of the transfer portal. So, and also when we just mentioned, you see a team like Ole Miss sneak into the bottom of the field and go on a national championship run, all you got to do is make the tournament, and you can find yourself wherever you would like to be. It's just you're starting from so much lower of a point than this program has been at in 26 years that it's hard for people to believe it.
I think one part to that is knowing with the injuries, and I know a lot because we've pointed out the injuries on this program, especially to the pitching staff, and people have responded on the text line as it pertains to the hitting and where the hitting is currently at and the statistics there for the offensive production. So there's people who have said, hey, look, yeah, okay, a lot of injuries to your pitchers, but what about the bats? What about offensive production? So I tell you what, it's apparently that I think I'm not going to disagree with what Ray Tanner said. And I think there's a lot of truth to it. What I think you get is the blowback of fans who do not want to hear it. All they want to do is see a regional at Founders Park and the potential for a super regional.
Yeah, but as from where he's standing, I mean, the decision's been made that Kingston's going back. So what else can he really do other than say, hey, this is where we're at. This is why I made the decision. We're going to turn it around. I mean, that's all he can do at this point.
803.
It's not an easy spot to be in. That's why I make so much money.
No, I agree with you. 803-404-6100. We'll continue talking about that if you want to weigh in. We'll let you listen to a little bit more of what Ray Tanner had to say yesterday. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Pritt. It's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Tuesday halftime show. Player number 15 on our Gamecock football countdown. We're halfway there, Terry Ford. Where's the summer going?
So you're sure the 15's half of 30?
Gunner said it was halfway, so.
But are we going to believe Gunner?
Well, when it comes to math, he's probably better than me. I'm not sure about that, but I'll go that 15 is half of 30. We'll get into a few other thoughts around Gamecock football recruiting, and the Deshaun Watson hearings will begin. What kind of trouble is he really facing? All of that and more on the Tuesday halftime show. See you at noon.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy. Noon to 3 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And still slowdowns from that earlier accident. I-26 eastbound at exit 97. The right lane is still blocked. And really, we're talking about stop-and-go traffic from about exit 91. And, of course, because people are trying to get off the interstate, alternate roads are also slow down, like Highway 76. That is also slow as well. So just a slow go if you're trying to make your way from the Chapin area. And weather-wise, could see some storms. That's kind of a possibility for most of the week. 73 for the high. I'm sorry, it's 73. Yeah, don't I wish? 83 for the high today, 84 tomorrow, 88 on Thursday. So really looking mid to upper 80s through Saturday. Right now, though, it's cloudy and 76 at 107.5 The Game.
This is JR with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. If you buy a ticket to a Lakers or Clippers game next year, buyer beware. John Wall is heading to the Clippers and just got paid $44 million to sit out a season. Kawhi Leonard hasn't been seen in a year due to his ACL. LeBron is getting older, and Anthony Davis has picked up the name Street Clothes. on JR.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
I'll ring you up in a second. Kim, can you see if we have more acid wash?
Desmona's Thrift Store is the spot for killer vintage finds.
Oh, that looks fabulous on you. Hey, can you do the register?
But her sales clerk situation feels pretty threadbare.
Oh, yeah, let me clear out that fitting room.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Sponsored by Indeed.com. If your business is feeling a summer hiring wave, then you need Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Being present and in the moment for family activities was impossible because Will Burt was so focused on the constant pain in his leg.
My wife likes to take walks. I always kind of dreaded going on walks because they hurt. The boys both play baseball. I coach their teams. I was going to do them and be in pain and be uncomfortable and kind of sacrifice my own health.
An old Achilles injury left Will coping with agonizing pain until he discovered the natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No surgery or steroids. The procedure took place in the office, and Will walked right out.
I feel great. There's no pain. There's no tenderness.
Patients like Will are feeling amazing and living their best lives.
Ironically, just got off the golf course today, so I think that's a good telltale sign that the Achilles is feeling better.
Don't be in pain another day. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust is the right way to clean.
SCMEP is now offering SCMEP Online, a new online training portal that offers flexibility and convenience for working adults. With times always changing, it's important to change with them. And this could mean receiving certification from our Certified Manufacturing Associate program. The course covers fundamental topics associated with assembly, maintenance, machining, and more. Visit scmep-online.org and take your first steps toward moving closer to a high-demand career in manufacturing, because business is always evolving. Are you? SCMEP is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization sponsored by SCMEP in cooperation with the South Carolina Broadcasters Association and this station.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks. The Early Game, 107.5 The Game.
803-404-6100. How you can weigh in this morning if you choose to do so. Played a little bit of Ray Tanner audio there. We'll get you a little bit more in this segment. Ray joining us yesterday, and he also talked about expectations for the baseball team. And we'll let you listen to what he had to say, Patrick, because South Carolina baseball to me is extremely unique. Expectations for this baseball team are different. Or I shouldn't say for this baseball team, that would mean like one team in particular, but for this program are wildly different than they are for football or for basketball, which can be a little crazy just because as much as we talk about how strong the SEC is in football, I think the SEC is more difficult in baseball, right? Like the SEC to South Carolina has been, I don't know, whatever term you want to use, is a baseball power. They're not right now. They're not right now, but they are a baseball power, and it doesn't take much to get them back. But still, the expectations for this program are hosting a regional. I mean, that's really the minimum. It's not even going, right?
Yeah, those are the expectations. Maybe that makes it harder, but the SEC is probably deeper in baseball, but harder is kind of a tough question because in a one-off series, that your odds of beating Tennessee are probably better than your odds of beating Alabama in football or Georgia in football. So I don't know. Maybe that's just the nature of it. The nature of baseball is that a team like Ole Miss can win the national championship, whereas I'm pretty sure if we do a 12-team playoff, the 12th team is never winning a national championship.
Well, let's go back. The team that just won the World Series, the College World Series, South Carolina took 2 of 3.
There you go.
Another one of the teams that was in the College World Series, Texas A&M, South Carolina won 1 of those 3. But remember, really should have won 2 of 3 on the road. They blew. I can't remember how many runs they were up. I think it was 8-0, 7-0, 9. It might have been 9. Whatever it was, they blew a massive lead and really should have taken 2 of 3 in that series as well. And I think that's where Ray Tanner's kind of coming from when he talks about injuries and where this program was. You alluded to it in the season, and you were right. The midweek games really became the bugaboo for this baseball team. And the fact that against in-state competition, I think you said they were 2-5. Is that correct? Does that seem right?
I think that was the number, yeah.
Okay.
And it was the only 2 were Winthrop twice.
Right. So with that being said, that hurt just as much as SEC play. Obviously, you throw in a couple losses early in the season. The Xavier game, certainly again, a non-conference game that hurt. But here's what Ray Tanner had to say yesterday. He was asked about expectations. And I don't know whether fans will agree with this or not. But, Jen, let's play a little bit. Here's what Ray Tanner said yesterday as it pertains to expectations for the baseball program.
Having been a part of the baseball program for 16 years and, going through some growing pains, if you will, but some consistency on making the postseason, that's sort of the expectation. And it's not difficult to understand. We have a tremendous environment to play in. I know that, our attendance wasn't great. Our season ticket base is still pretty strong, but they also want to come out and watch a team be able to win a series on the weekend and be very successful and talk about the postseason and potentially hosting at home. And those are factors that you certainly want to be a part of and take a look at as we move forward. And that's a special environment. It has been here for a long, long time. And you gave me a little bit too much credit. I mean, it goes back to Bobby Richardson when he was here, and then Coach Raines followed him, and the consistency of the program has been there for a long, long time. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of the foundation that had been established and continue forward. And that's just what the expectations are, and they may be higher for our baseball program than maybe for some other sports, just because of the history and tradition.
I don't think that's a question. To me, Patrick, I'm not picking on Ray Tanner. What I'm saying is the expectations. You would agree with this. In your short time here, you haven't even seen the best of South Carolina baseball. Quite honestly, we can kind of blame you for the slide in almost all sports except for the Final Four, if we want to pick on you all morning.
Except for just the sport of basketball in general, men's and women's.
They did
bring us 2 national championships.
That's true. You did. I forget about that. But since your arrival in 2015, things have really kind of been downhill. With that all being said, with all that being said, this baseball program, I don't think there's any. I take that back. Maybe women's basketball. The expectation now, what Dawn Staley's done is basically Final Four, and it's almost gotten to the point now, unfortunate for her and her program, and I say unfortunate just because you know how some fans react, is it's national championship or you were a disappointment this season, which is absolutely insane and an extreme compliment to what Dawn Staley has built.
But because of that, because she's the one that built it, it's not going to affect her standing with the university if she doesn't win a championship.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, she's got the most job security of any coach.
I might have the most job security of anybody in this state, to be quite honest. 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. We'll continue talking about this. We get back into Grayson Howard's commitment, a little bit of Deshaun Watson discussion as well. And I'll get into a little bit of this Own 3 topic on the top 10 non-conference SEC games. See if Patrick likes a couple of these that Jesse Simonton has put out yesterday on his Twitter account, the top 10 SEC non-conference games of the season. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game. We'll get to a break in just a second as the computer battles Jen on a Tuesday. Hey, there we go.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 15, wide receiver Kenny McKinley.
And I'm joined now by senior receiver Kenny McKinley. Touchdown, Carolina! Touchdown, Kenny McKinley.
Kenny McKinley graduated from South Cobb High School in Austell, Georgia. As a quarterback during his senior year, he passed for 1,470 yards and 16 touchdowns and rushed for 750 yards while scoring 12 touchdowns. He was rated the 54th best athlete in the country by Rivals.com.
Lofts it up to the corner. McKinley, touchdown. That's what he does.
During his sophomore year at Carolina, McKinley would go on to earn first-team All-SEC honors from the SEC coaches, the AP, and collegefootballnews.com.
Dancing around Kenny McKinley, and he dances to the tune of 6 points.
As a junior, Kenny led the SEC in receptions and receiving yards per game. McKinley finished up his senior season by setting Gamecock records for career receptions and receiving yards, becoming only the 5th player in SEC history with over 200 career catches.
I broke a couple of records, and to be the all-time leading receiver, it's a good accomplishment.
McKinley was drafted in the 5th round of the 2009 NFL draft by the Denver Broncos.
Anyway, Kenny was certainly one of my favorite all-time players. He was one of them.
Number 15, wide receiver Kenny McKinley. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Some things sound so good you can almost taste it. Like Bluebell Strawberry Lemonade Ice Cream. Delicious strawberry ice cream swirled with lemonade sherbet and sprinkled with lemon-flavored flakes. It's better than you can imagine.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at Target stores and IGA supermarkets.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Well, the big tie-up of the morning continues. I-26 eastbound at the Peak exit, basically. The right lane is blocked. Stop and go traffic really from about exit 91. And, of course, your alternate feeder routes are going to be slow as well. So stacked up, especially on Highway 76. So, again, right lane blocked, I-26 eastbound at the Peak exit. But really a lot of slowdowns from exit 91. But slowly getting that earlier incident cleared out. Bickley Road at Broad River Road, there is an accident there. Also, I-77 southbound at Killian Road. And Old Dunbar Road at Creekside Road, you will find an accident as well. And we're looking for a high today of about 83. 84 tomorrow, and 88 on Thursday. Scattered storms possible throughout the week. It's 88 right now. Or, oh my gosh, no, it's not. I'm just fibbing to you. I feel like Bill right now. It's 76 at 107.5. The Game.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929 for more details. Since 1964, Gateway Supply has been the Midland's leader in plumbing and HVAC supply. And now, of course, they are statewide with more than 15 locations all across South Carolina. Their showrooms are filled with bath and kitchen fixtures from classic to modern styles. Now, tap and touchless faucets. You can even talk to your kitchen sink. See them at Hamrick Street near the Fairgrounds in Williams-Brice, or Highway 6 and Whiteford Way in Lexington. Design services, expert advice for customers and contractors alike. Visit them online at gatewaysupply.net.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock Football.
67 days till kickoff.
Your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Get the vehicle you want, not the one you have to settle for. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Summer is finally here. That means the kids are out of school and they are ready to jump into the pool and enjoy their pool this summer. Parents, is that pool clean? If not, it's time to call Corley Pool Solutions. Every pool has its own personality.
Just trust the pool store representative to properly diagnose your pool's issues. You need Tracy Corley.
Polly, we're agreeing that Polly is a spoiled baby. Is that what? Yeah,
She is, but she does have long days. Today she'll have a long day by herself, which won't be very fun. So we got to spoil her when we're here.
109. Again, weekly clean, no punishment, including all the chemicals, and the man himself, Tracy Corley, visiting your home each and every week to maintain that pool. He'll keep kids happy. He'll keep you happy. Make sure this summer, Corley Pool Solutions is maintaining your pool. 803-445-8199. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program.
Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, as we get you through about the final 20 minutes here of the early game. Not an article, I guess, but a listing here from Jesse Simonton, who joined us last week, Patrick, the top 10 SEC non-conference games of the year. And the SEC will once again step out of conference, play a couple really, really good games. Arkansas appearing on here twice. Let me give you the rundown, and then you give me your take on some games that instantly stand out to you. Number 10 is the rivalry game between Louisville and Kentucky. And Louisville, by the way, is starting to really make a name for itself on the recruiting trail. Scott Satterfield doing an incredible job up there. I'd be lying to have said if I wasn't surprised at the job that he has done. Josh Stepp, brother of Justin Stepp, obviously here at South Carolina, is up there and has really been lighting it up with landing some recruits. So Louisville starting, Patrick, to gain a little momentum. We'll see if they can challenge in the ACC this year. That's game number 10, Louisville, Kentucky on November 26th. This one is an interesting one. October 15th, out in Provo, Utah, Arkansas, and BYU. That's on a Saturday. Number 8, I thought this one might be a little bit higher, but number 8 on the list, Penn State traveling to the Plains. They'll take on Auburn on September 17th. Also that day, Miami will travel to Texas A&M. Should be a pretty good one there. Miami and Mario Cristobal going out to take on Jimbo Fisher and A&M. Number 6, I thought this one should have been lower. I'd have moved up Auburn, Penn State. I'd have moved Tennessee traveling to Pittsburgh down. Pittsburgh losing Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison. But Jesse Simonton of Own 3 Sports having that at number 6. Number 5, thought this one would be higher. Alabama at Texas on September 10th. Number 4, Patrick, Florida State and LSU. That'll be Sunday of Labor Day weekend. Number 3, Cincinnati at Arkansas. That's opening weekend, September 3rd in Fayetteville. Number 2, Georgia against Oregon. That'll be September 3rd in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And number 1 on the list, a little surprised that it beat out some of the other ones, according to Jesse Simonton of Own 3 Sports, Utah at Florida. What do you take away from that list?
Utah at Florida number 1. That's tough because when you're doing a list like this, is it the best matchups or the best games? Because you don't get matchups like Alabama, Texas very often. That's got to be the best matchup. But
well, let me stop it. Hold on.
Think,
let me ask you this. Does the fact that both are about to be in the same conference, and I say close to being in conference, at least within the next 3 or 4 years, if things had not changed and they were not going to be conference opponents in the next 5 years, would your opinion of that game change just a little bit because of what you just said, that it is a rare occurrence? It's 2 teams from it's 2 non-conference teams facing off, or the fact that we will likely see this matchup more often over the next 10 years, does it lose a little bit of its luster right now?
Maybe some people look at it that way, but it's almost you could argue that would make it more meaningful. Like Alabama sending a message to the soon-to-be new guys, like, yeah, you're not ready for this yet, or whatever it could mean. Or Texas could potentially make an incredible statement if they were to upset Alabama and say, look, we'll be there in a couple years. We're already ready for you. Plus, we got Arch Manning on the way. We got our coach. We got the number 1 recruit. We're going to have the number 1 recruiting class, yada, yada. I don't know. There's a lot that it could mean. Maybe 5 years from now, when that matchup has happened a couple times, 10 years, whatever, you can look back and say, okay, it wasn't all that big of a deal. But, yeah, as far as the list, like Oregon, Georgia, I don't think that's going to be a close game either. I'm not that high on Oregon. I think Georgia will probably dominate them, but there's the aspect of the former coach that Dan Lanning going up against all the guys that he recruited, and I don't know. I don't know how Florida Utah becomes the number 1, but maybe just because you think that it will be a close game and it will be entertaining to watch for 4 quarters, you have to give it that credit. Like Texas A&M Miami, you said that one. That's 2 programs with a lot of buzz, both on the rise, but Texas A&M's clearly ahead of Miami at this stage. And that one could be ugly too. So it's that kind of list. I can see why that's hard to put together.
If we flipped it around in the most meaningful game, because I've got two that instantly stand out as most meaningful games, especially for SEC programs. You got 2 that jump out at you as most meaningful. In terms of you got to win, or else the fan base going to not be happy at all.
Well, Georgia has to beat Oregon.
That would almost be number 10.
I mean, Alabama and Georgia can't lose games at all, if that's what you mean.
Yeah,
like
Georgia,
Alabama's fans don't settle for any loss.
Georgia, I understand what you're saying. Georgia just won a championship. Kirby Smart right now. If they lose, people will kind of write it off. Hey, they lost 1 million people in defense. They're trying to replace people. Oregon, Dan Lanning. I'm with you. People will be upset, but there's 2, and I'll give them to you, that stand out instantly.
Is Auburn one of them?
Yes.
Yeah, Brian Harsin.
Brian Harsin at home, I against Penn State. Just after everything happened, you can't lose that one. And I would assume, and I don't have the Vegas, I know it's out somewhere, but I assume Penn State's a favorite in that game on September 17th. They put out those big game lines early on. The other one is the number 1 game on Jesse Simonton's list, and that's why I kind of agree with his list a little bit. Billy Napier is losing a fan base because of recruiting at a crazy rate. If you're not paying attention, I go on the message boards, the Florida message boards, and we'll have, again, as we move through the month of July, we'll have Dave Waters on, who we've had on in the past. Those fans over there, and yesterday's a perfect example. Florida wanted Grayson Howard. This isn't a case of, well, okay, yeah, we offered him, but we weren't going to take his commitment. Florida wanted Grayson Howard. He took an official visit there June the 10th. They just lost Jaden Rashada. We talked about that yesterday in the name, image, likeness deal. There's a lot of things recruiting-wise that are happening with Florida right now that fan base is absolutely up in arms with Billy Napier. And if he loses the season opener in Gainesville to Utah, and I believe we said that they are an underdog by a point and a half. Seems right. Does that seem right to you, Patrick?
I think that's what it
When,
was.
when we looked at it, you lose that game, and that fan base is going to be ready to not let you back in the locker room. I think right off the it is if you haven't seen, I mean, go look at some of the things Florida fans are already saying about Billy Napier and just his recruiting. They are as unhappy with a coach who's never coached a game as anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah, just going down the list, I mean, there's cases to be made for all of these things too. Like Tennessee, to build off of what they did last year, has to go and beat a team like Pittsburgh, especially the way their schedule is gonna play out. LSU has the biggest range of what they could be of probably any team in the SEC, I think. So they have to beat a team like Florida State because their schedule's not going to get easier if they want to. And it's in New Orleans, which is going to be a home game for them. So there's case to be made for all these games. It is interesting to just sit back and look at them now.
803-404-6100. Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, Jen Jensen. We'll get you through the final segment of the Tuesday morning episode. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Tuesday edition of the Extra Point, we will react to Ray Tanner's State of the Athletic Department address. We heard yesterday on the halftime show. We'll continue to talk South Carolina recruiting. We'll find out what Christian McCaffrey learned from Marshall Faulk and how he plans to try to get healthy to help the Carolina Panthers overachieve relative to pretty low expectation this year for the Panthers. All that and more coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point
with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Time of the year for family vacations. That's right. Getting out, traveling around the country a little bit, maybe heading to Disney World, maybe heading to the mountains, wherever it may be. Reliable vehicle. That's what is important at this time of the year. And if you're in the market for a reliable vehicle, I'm telling you what, you will not find a better dealership, a better group of people to work with to purchase that next vehicle than at Love Chevrolet. That's right. They've been in business for over 60 years taking care of families here in the Midlands, and things are not changing anytime soon. They continue to believe in who they are, how they treat their customers. They're staying true to what has defined Love Chevrolet for over 60 years. And I suggest you go visit and find out why they've been in business that long. Of course, they've got the $1,000 great deal, the one low price guarantee where you can visit other dealerships and take it back to the folks that love Chevy and they'll top it. It's always been there. It'll always be there. The incredible selection, 14 acres of brand new Chevys. Yeah, you've heard me talk about that, but I continue to tell you what makes Love Chevrolet stand out amongst the competition is the way they treat you. From the second you come on the lot looking for that new vehicle. Let's be honest. When you go to purchase a brand new vehicle, you're excited. It's something exciting that you're about to do. Yeah, you're going to spend some money, but it's an exciting feeling to go purchase a new vehicle, and you want someone who's just as excited as you are to help you make that purchase. And at Love Chevrolet, that's exactly what they do. They make sure you, the customer, are happy, that you're informed, that you know why that vehicle will help you and your family on its everyday commute. So go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true
All right, Bill. Bill.
Yeah, Bowman. They've missed. If you go read their boards, Florida is not happy. They are very, very unhappy. So we'll see what happens. Over under for men's basketball wins, 10 would be very generous for Ari. 10 would be. They win 10 games, Lamont Parish. Whew, that would be a heck of a job.
The early game.
1075 The Game.
Final few minutes of the program. Coming up tomorrow morning, we will catch up on the number 14 player on our list of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. I have not looked, so I have no idea right now, but we will talk about that. We'll see if there's more recruiting news. Again, Shane Beamer last night putting out another welcome home, but no real idea of who it may be. Some internet detectives trying to maybe piece together. Maybe it's wide receiver Jaden Greathouse. Maybe it's running back Trayon Webb out of Jacksonville. Maybe it's linebacker Jaden Robinson. Maybe it's offensive lineman Marquis Anderson. Who knows? No idea. It's the fun part of the welcome homes. It keeps you glued to the internet.
Yes.
Refreshing left. I don't do, Jen, you're on Twitter. I don't have anybody signed up on Twitter where when they tweet out, it notifies me. I did that one time, like when I very first started Twitter about it, 13 years, 14 years ago, whenever Twitter first came out. And Dawn Staley, I thought, oh, okay, cool. So there was, she was one of the people that I was connected to, that when she would send out a tweet, I would get it like a text message so that you would stay up to date on it. And then one morning she was in Philadelphia and she started tweeting. This was way before I was doing sports talk radio, especially in the morning. She started tweeting at like 5 a.m. about going for a run in Philadelphia. And I realized that was a poor decision on my part to be having notifications for when she tweeted. So I quickly took that off, and I don't have notifications for anybody else now. That's one thing I've done away with.
Yeah, I used to have a couple, and I've kind of done the same because it's like, oh, okay, they tweet more than I thought they did. So, there's ways to bunch them into groups and such. So maybe you can just go to your certain groups and try to see the text that way. That's kind of maybe a better way of organizing. But yeah, the alerts, oh no.
So I don't do. So I say that because now you'll have to stay glued to Twitter. And you'll have to stay glued to Twitter. You'll have to stay glued to the internet to see who may go public with their commitment. But we'll talk a little bit more about recruiting tomorrow. We'll get into this list. I didn't do it today, but Brad Crawford of 24/7 Sports. We talked a little bit in the last segment about Jesse Simonton of Own 3 Sports and kind of more of a national look at college football or an SEC look, talking about his top 10 non-conference games coming up here in 2022. Tomorrow, what I'll do is get into Brad Crawford has gone game by game for South Carolina. He's got a little write-up. You can go to 24/7 Sports and read what he has put out. I read it yesterday. And, there's a lot of excitement, obviously, for South Carolina this year. But I also, at least right now, as we sit here on June 28th at 8:52 in the morning, I feel like there's a lot of realistic expectation for South Carolina in 2022. I don't sense, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just not talking to the right people. I don't sense that there's a lot of people out there going, oh yeah, 9 wins. We got it. This is a 9-win season, 10 wins. And if we're just lucky, we'll get to 11. Nobody can beat us. I think there's a lot of people that are like me. I got a question on Twitter last night about expected record. And I basically said, I have a hard time right now projecting anything more than 7 wins. Because while, Spencer Rattler has shown the ability to perform at the collegiate level, I don't know about the offensive line. Are playmakers really going to emerge at the wide receiver position outside of Josh Vann? What is Marcus Satterfield's play call going to look like? Are the safeties going to continue to get better without Jalen Foster back there? There's nice pieces, and there's reasons to be excited, and there's reasons to think that it could be an ultra successful year, but there's a lot there, and especially you look at the schedule. The trip to Arkansas in week 2. Arkansas's a much improved team under Sam Pittman. South Carolina has not been able to break the Kentucky curse. 1 win in the last 7 years against the Wildcats. That's a curse. That is exactly what that is, and that game is in Lexington. Texas A&M is getting better each and every year, and obviously South Carolina has yet to beat them. Tennessee, it's hard to pick a victory over Tennessee after the way you saw South Carolina get beaten by them last year in Knoxville and Florida, who we were just talking about. I have no clue what to expect from Florida this coming season because of what is happening right now with Billy Napier. I saw there was some reports out of the Manning Passing Academy or camp that they just had over the weekend. It's the big deal that the Mannings put on and obviously go about trying to help. They have counselors. They have guys that come in and do and play. One of the guys who drew, well, two of the guys I should actually say, who drew some really strong feedback from this, according to Chris Hummer with 24/7 Sports, the top guy that impressed him is a quarterback that South Carolina will face this year. Maybe not one you're thinking of. It's Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback. The write-up on him was the dude is a specimen, 6'3", 232 pounds, and honestly looked bigger. He has a cannon. Even among some of the best quarterbacks in the country, the ball came off of Levis' hand noticeably different. His release is so quick, too. There's very little strain for Levis to push the ball downfield 60-plus yards, and he also made tough throws like an 18-yard out look easy. This is, again, Chris Hummer with 24/7 Sports, who was on hand at the Manning Passing Academy this past weekend in Louisiana. The number 2 guy, Anthony Richardson, another quarterback South Carolina will have to face this year. He said there were 2 quarterbacks who truly wowed at the event. Levis was one, and Anthony Richardson was the other. The Florida Gator is a freak, plain and simple. He's a massive person whose hands look more like oven mitts. He made a 60-yard throw look effortless on Friday evening and regularly made difficult throws look easy on Saturday afternoon. The write-up on Spencer Rattler, not quite as positive from, again, Chris Hummer, who said Spencer Rattler won a competition Friday evening in which he threw a 40-yard pass or so into a basketball hoop, winning him a year's supply of Raising Cane's. That's pretty solid. Other than that, Rattler had an inconsistent camp. We'll talk more about that article and Brad Crawford's breakdown tomorrow. Good job today, Jen.
You as well.
Don't text and produce. See you tomorrow.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL
with live local radio.
107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
A Cumulus media station.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a great day. Good luck on that, Hope.
Yeah, we need to help her out with that because I know darn well Hope never said anything bad about Dawn Staley.
I don't know. 2 more days, Craig. 2 more days. 1 more day for me. 1 more day. Hope you have a great one. Chuck, you have a great one. Everybody, take care, and y'all have a great day. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
See you guys.